What's going on, fellow A-plussers? It's your host, Adam Perez, back once again with a brand new episode of A-Plus Hero Report, your weekly stop for your Marvel, DC, television, and movie news, streaming to you guys live today over here from our YouTube page, along with us over on Facebook, as well as Twitch for you gamers out there, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you very much for certainly joining us here as we wrap up your weekend of nerd pop culture news. Let you guys know everything that's certainly going on out there in the world today, and getting you ready for next week. But welcome, ladies and gentlemen, from good old Fort Worth, Texas. Beautiful day today. I think today after this show, outside of watching football, might try and do some outside activities, man. Get me a little bit of a tan, enjoy my family a little bit. It's been a beautiful day now that we're currently in fall. I feel like sometimes here in Texas, we don't get the opportunity to experience all of the fall, all of the four seasons from time to time. But this time around, man, fall is hitting me some type of way. I'm feeling pretty good today. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. It's not just myself today. And you might think, you know what, Adam, you're probably just going to hang out with Stuart today, have a good old time with Stuart. And you know what? We probably will. But guess what? We actually have the full crew today because we just want to spoil you guys today because Indy said, screw work. I'm coming to hang out with you guys. What's going on, everybody?
Hey,
Indy, you muted, I think. Indy, yay.
I forgot how to work stuff.
It's good to have you back, man. I feel like you were in high demand. I wonder if people were getting tired of seeing me and Stuart's face this whole time. But now we got you here. I think the world is right again.
Yeah. I took a break from Westeros to come back. You know what I'm saying? A hero report. Nah, man. I hate Apple. And
so you got done with your iPhone stuff, right?
And we're good to go. I decided that I needed a break.
Well, it's good to see. I know we still see you around the channel, at least with your House of Dragons and She-Hulk reviews. How are you enjoying both of those shows so far, man?
I'm enjoying both. You couldn't ask for two opposite sides of the spectrum.
Absolutely.
So it breaks up that monotony for me and allows me to, you know what I'm saying, use both sides, you know what I'm saying, of my personality. But man, when you compare the writing in a show like a House of the Dragon to everything else that we review, it makes it weird to review something that's only like 30 minutes long. That's just like slapstick comedy, and then go into something that's super serious and political. And you're like, yeah, Disney needs to step up.
Yeah, right. At least get away from like these 20-something minute episodes, please. Can I have something I can sink my teeth into? You know, we do have Werewolf by Night that's going to be dropping here within about a week, actually, now that I think about it. I'm super pumped for this. This is probably something I probably will sit down and watch the day of release, as we get the opportunity to check out Michael Giacchino, who's most notably known for being a composer, but he's diving into a world of directing. I didn't know he was a big film and TV guy, or at least studied film and things like that. So this feels like a great opportunity for him. And you know, it's so funny. He did talk a little bit about there was an article we posted over on our Facebook page where he talks about it's just so funny how people just see me as a composer, right? Like how they just literally put you in the box, and the moment you go outside of that and think you're doing something else, it like people like lose their shit. It's like they've never seen anything like it before. Like people just can't be multi-talented in several different things. So I really want to see how he does when it comes to directing, and if any of those teaser trailers that we've seen is any indication, and some of the early reactions, we might have something here on our hands. Are we reviewing Werewolf by Night, or one of you guys reviewing it? How do you guys want to do that?
I mean, She-Hulk should be over by then, and
I
have a spot to fill. She-Hulk has 2 more episodes.
Okay, well, so I think this drops on there might be one more episode, because I think Werewolf by Night drops on the 7th, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it's the 7th of October. So
they might run them together, because She-Hulk's doing 9.
Okay,
they're doing 9 episodes. So
gotcha.
Well, is Werewolf by Night a TV show, or is it going to be a movie?
I think it's just like I think it's like a movie, or just like a special. I think it's just like a 1 episode thing, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not expecting it to be a long running series or anything like that. It might just be a one-off. Forsaken, he says, the gang is back. What's up? Good to see you in here, John. Thank you so much, man. Good old Datilla in the house. Who else we got in here? We got anybody else, Indy? Anybody else with some shout outs? Enrique, what's up, Enrique? He says, I just watched episodes 12 to 22, second half of Dino Fury season 2, and finally was amazing. Also, Monster High, the movie, is premiering on Nickelodeon this Thursday night at 8 p.m. Well, there you go, Nickelodeon fans. If you're checking out Monster High, let me know how you like it, Enrique. And yes, surprisingly, me and Stuart were just talking about this off the air. I have not watched Dino Fury as of yet. I am still in the dark, so please, if we can help out, no spoilers, I would appreciate it. That might be what I do sometime later on today. But it's been kind of crazy, man, especially with Hasbro PulseCon. We've been doing a lot of reporting. We did our recap on Friday night. We posted a video early Saturday morning and a potential casting for Trini's daughter, perhaps. So Power Ranger fans, go ahead and check out our videos. The Hasbro PulseCon recap, we talked a bunch about Cosmic Fury stuff, and then yesterday I did drop like a highlight video from the Trini's daughter stuff. If you guys can go ahead and check that out. Indy, have you or Stuart, have you guys checked out the Cosmic Fury costumes at all?
I liked them, and to be totally honest with you, the Trini's daughter, y'all know I'm a huge fan of Walter Jones.
Yeah.
Like if anything, if we want to make Indy watch Power Rangers again,
bring Walter Jones back.
They did exactly what they need to do to make me tune in, to the point where I'm like, should I watch Dino Fury? Or should I just come back into Cosmic, since it's like all new stuff and they're doing, you know what I'm saying, like the new costumes. It's just coming in fresh to something new where it feels like it's a starting point where I don't have to follow all of this stuff that happened. I'm definitely looking forward to this, and good job on the coverage, because
thank you.
I'm watching the A+ post go up, and I'm like, he's directing this to me. Like, he knows exactly what's going to make me.
I know you want to watch, Indy.
Yeah, he's trying to get me to cover Power Ranger stuff right now. That's what he's doing. So yeah, I'm interested in it. I thought the suits would fly. I like the fact that they're not adapting, you know what I'm saying, any like Sentai suits, that is kind of like an original thing. That makes me feel like it's going to be a little bit more care taken into what they do, and that maybe the production value, you know what I'm saying, a little bit better, because they're going to want stuff to look good rather than just using recycled footage.
Yeah, I feel you. I do think it's going to be a pretty expensive series, at least compared to other Power Ranger series that we've had so far. But I would recommend checking out Dino Fury. I don't necessarily know if you would have to for what's coming up, but you probably would, because I do believe it's like a continuation with certainly some of the characters from Dino Fury are definitely carrying over into Cosmic Fury, so you probably want that momentum. But it's a great series. Like, I honestly highly would recommend that to anybody, especially if you've been off of the Power Rangers bandwagon for a minute. So I would recommend Dino Fury for sure. What did you think of the costumes, Stuart?
Oh, I think the costumes look really cool. Maybe I kind of wish there was like a logo or something like on the chest.
Because it's missing that lightning bolt, right? Or that weird symbol, the weird dino symbol. Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be that same lightning bolt, but like a symbol or something, I think would add a little bit more to it. But other than that, yeah, I think the costumes look fantastic. But yes, indeed, you should definitely check out Dino Fury, because whether or not the story will matter for Cosmic Fury, the character development definitely kind of matters. This is one of those seasons where the character development is very noticeable, and I think that knowing that will actually add like another layer to Cosmic Fury.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally think so. So, yeah, guys, great stuff.
I'll write down a list of episodes you can skip, probably.
Yeah, have me skip all the fillers, like Naruto. Somebody give me just what I'm supposed to watch, so I don't have to watch all the filler stuff.
I bet you, if you were to watch it, I bet you it would just fly by for you, and you wouldn't even realize, like, oh my goodness, I'm watching all these episodes. I feel like they go by pretty quick.
I think murdering the Gokaiger season for me is what took me out. Like the super whatever it was when they adapted the Gokaiger, like I was like, no, I can't do this.
No, I feel you, man. I feel you.
For me, it's like I don't have to worry about that because I never watched Ryu Soldier, so I just went into Dino Fury knowing. I mean, I saw maybe the first 5 episodes, so I knew I was going to get good fight scenes, and that was about it.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely left a bad taste in everybody's mouth, but I would recommend definitely checking out Dino Fury when you get a chance. Outside of that, guys, let's get into some honorable mentions. I feel like we already kind of started opening up the open up the floodgates for honorable mentions. Do you guys have any honorable mentions you want to share today? Any recommendations on things to watch?
I got something that I'm really excited about.
What you got?
If I'm coming with something that's possibly anime related. Man, anybody who enjoys Naruto, they're doing a 20th anniversary to commemorate the 20th anniversary of Naruto. They're actually doing a Sasuke manga adaptation of one of the books that he did. So it's like it's going to be like a spin-off of a light novel where it gets into the story, like the events that everything that Sasuke did after Naruto Shippuden, right before like the Boruto series, and cover all that stuff he went through, like searching the chasing down the Akatsuki, building his relationship back up with the Leaf, and basically becoming Naruto's like right hand assassin. You know what I'm saying? So that is going to be amazing, because that's like a big block of time that we had no idea what was going on and how Sasuke got from point A to point B.
I like it, man. I like it. I haven't really caught up with it too much. Are you guys going to be doing your anime assembles again? You guys working on it?
Yeah. Somebody decided that they wanted to I'm gonna let him say what happened, but
Okay.
I'm just gonna say congratulations.
Okay. Congrats.
There's going to be a lot of stuff going on. I know we've been going crazy with the Instagram stuff, but the new season of Anime Assembled is getting ready to start back up.
Woo! Looking forward to it, man.
We were waiting on anime season to start again. We're running out of stuff to talk about. like anime and manga is like a big block. It's like one half of the year, and then like the second half of the year, there's nothing.
There's nothing. Okay. I wasn't sure how that worked out.
Yeah,
I gotta ask, because like I keep seeing so many clickbaity articles about this, but I've also been seeing them since 2018, so I can never trust them. I keep seeing that Dragon Ball Super is supposedly coming back next year. Since you keep up with anime news, do you think there's actually legitimacy to this time, or is it just another like rumor?
They are working on a Dragon Ball Super anime. I don't know if it's coming next year, but they have another movie in the works too, and they normally do 2 or 3 movies before and adapt those to the anime first before they get into the story. With the Granola arc just finishing, they have enough content to go forward with the anime, but the creator took a hiatus for a minute after the last big, reveal of what happened. I'm not going to spoil it for people who haven't read. Just go watch Anime Assemble. We talked about it. But he has like an arc that's coming that he said is going to be bigger than any arc, that he has done before. So I think they might wait until after the manga does that arc and then bring the anime back. So I'm thinking maybe 2024 rather than 2023.
God, I gotta wait longer. I hope I survive. I survive long enough to finish these damn stories. So you think we might actually get another movie before the Super actually winds up dropping?
Yeah, because that's normally what they do.
Broly and the superhero one.
Well, Broly, and superhero, you might have, one more. You might. Even if you don't, and I don't see them adapting superhero Broly for sure into the anime, but they got a lot of stuff to cover, because anything that happened in a superhero movie, they still have to make canon in the manga.
Oh, okay.
So
gosh, my goodness. Real quick from John, your co-host there, he says, "I love Dino Fury." See that, Andy? He said he wants them to revisit Lost Galaxy and Ninja Storm again. So yeah, even John is pumped. And he says it's going to be insane, and he agrees with you. He thinks 2024 is his guessing point for Dragon Ball Z. So Dragon Ball Super. So it looks like you guys are all on the same page. What about you, Stuart? You got any recommendations? Any honorable mentions today?
A little bit of a recommendation if it's coming to your area, wherever all of our viewers are living at. So there's currently the road show for Clerks 3, and it hit San Francisco this last Friday. And I got to tell you, man, if you have a chance to go, especially if you have a chance to go with a really close friend or with a brother or something like that, go, because holy crap, I went to go see it with my one of my closest friends on Friday. And dear God, it was one of the coolest experiences ever. Despite the fact that the actual theater itself wasn't the best, because, oh my God, the seats were so cramped and it was really, really uncomfortably warm in there. But regardless, the movie itself was amazing, of course, and then of course the Kevin Smith Q&As. Those are always a lot of fun. And there was a moment like during the last act of the movie where I started to get choked up, and I'm like, oh God, I'm not going to be able to hold the tears in. But I'm like, I'm trying so hard not to cry because my best friend's right next to me, and not to mention I'm in like a really crowded theater of 1,400 people. So I'm like, oh God, don't do it. But then I start hearing everyone around me start to like sniff a little bit, like going, and I'm like, okay, you know what? If other people are doing it, I'm doing it too.
Is it Infinity War sort of Peter Parker moment everybody had? Started crying around you?
Oh, I'd say it's even more than that, actually.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried to just look it up on my AMC theaters to see if it's showing in my area, and I got nothing, man.
I missed the Chicago show due to the fact of
maybe it's not
the friggin' iPhone launch. So I missed the Chicago show because I was going to drive back and go. It's only like a 2-hour drive because they're not going to have anything like in Wisconsin. So I'm mad I missed that because you saw from just the promo I did on it. I'm a huge Kevin Smith stan and love everything that he does. And my mission is to get this interview with him and to meet this man in person and just sit down and just, you know what I'm saying, roll something up and have a conversation with him. You know what I'm saying, about his life. That's my goal right now.
If we can get him on this podcast, yes, I will join you for that one because I'm also a huge Kevin Smith fan.
Is it called the Clerks 3, the Convenience Tour?
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Man, I don't have anything here in Texas. I wonder if I might have missed it. I wonder if they were here earlier or not.
He mentioned he's doing 50 shows altogether, and he was on, I think, show number 13 when he was in San Francisco. So, not sure.
I see some Detroit, Michigan ones. I see Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina. But that's where that's where the ticket event ends. So I'll have to look up more. I'll have to look up some more. Because I would love to go, honestly. I would love to go. Because I really want to see this damn movie, and everybody's getting to see it before me.
Yeah.
What's up, Blossom?
Sure at the very least that you've seen Clerks 1 and 2 first, because this is definitely one of those movies where the more of Kevin Smith the more movies you've seen from him, the more of an impact it's going to have on you. And in fact, like in San Francisco, because like I had recognized like the story that he mentioned about how Lionsgate is kind of the reason that both Jay and Silent Bob Reboot and Clerks 3 have been able to get made. So when the logo for Lionsgate came up, everyone started cheering, and Kevin Smith comes out and goes, "That's the first time this has ever happened." No one's ever cheered at the logo or at the Lionsgate logo before.
I love it, man. I love Kevin Smith.
That man's just his love for the medium is just bar none. You know what I'm saying, to anything else. And I think he makes it comfortable for me being I'm a couple of months from being 40. And I feel like because of somebody like him, I'm able to enjoy the medium and enthrall myself into it and not feel like an outcast or anything, because I look at him and like, man, this man was successful his entire life and he loves everything I love. So, you know what I'm saying? What does it matter? What does anybody else say? You know?
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Absolutely. Let's see here. A couple other honorable mentions to tackle. We got ourselves a Witcher season 3 poster. They went ahead and dropped that this week, set for summer 2023 debut. Loving the series so far. Season 2 was actually pretty good. At least I thought so. But I'm looking forward to the 3rd season. Any of you guys not a fan of season 2 of The Witcher or had some issues with it? No.
Pacing threw me off a little bit with season 2. It was a really good season. It's just that after season 1 and the way that they told the story in season 1, season 2 took me out of that whole thing. I was expecting more of that, but I liked where they were going with season 2, and I understand that season 2 was more of character building rather than like storytelling. So season 3, I'm just waiting for everything to hit the fan.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just love visually, it's probably my favorite looking fantasy TV show out there. Like even though Game of Thrones I think has a bigger budget, I still think this show manages to pull off some really incredible like monster special effects that like at times kind of puts Game of Thrones to shame.
Yeah, they do some amazing work there on that show for sure. Visually, it is pretty stunning. I want to say also next honorable mention. Paramount just announced that Star Trek has actually been removed from their upcoming film slate.
What?
They had just recently lost, if I'm not mistaken, their director Matt Shackman to the Fantastic Four movie. Marvel wind up just grabbing them up. So they wind up losing their director. And now, according to Variety.com, the sequel has in fact been removed from the upcoming slate. So I would assume we're probably still going to get ourselves a Star Trek movie, but I would just assume, if anything, now it's going to be a much longer sort of wait. So we'll see, man. But that did kind of surprise me. And were you going to say something, Stuart?
I was just gonna say, Marvel's like, oh, we don't need to make better movies. We just need to get rid of the competition.
Right? Yeah, we'll just steal yours. And then for me, the last honorable mention I'll throw out there, The Last of Us. The Last of Us actually wind up dropping a brand new little teaser trailer this past week. We went ahead and actually posted it up on our Facebook page. Did you guys get a chance to check out the brief teaser trailer, Stuart or Indy?
Hell yeah. My girlfriend actually showed me a TikTok where someone took like the clips from the trailer and then matched it with some clips from the video games. And yeah, I'm really hyped for the show.
It looks incredible. The director of Chernobyl, I believe, is directing it. I don't know if he's directing the entire season or not. But I absolutely love the Chernobyl season on HBO Max a couple years back, and the fact that he's teaming up with the creator of The Last of Us, I think, is a match made in heaven. But even though personally I have not yet even played any of these games, this will literally be like my first introduction to the storyline is through this particular series. I do think that the casting choices were incredible, and just from first glimpses, it's definitely got my attention. I don't know too much about the premise of the video game, but are there zombies in this, or like some sort of mutated humans or something? It looks like there was some sort of like creatures in here.
It's based on actual disease that ants will get, where basically like plants will kind of grow out of them and they'll basically be zombies, and it spreads through bites. So they basically wanted to have like, what if that happened but with people? So it's like it's kind of a plant hybrid of zombies, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's not like The Happening, right? That M. Night Shyamalan where the trees are killing you.
Oh no.
Okay, just
that's what the monster was in The Happening.
I think so. I think it was the plants. I think they were like giving off like, I don't know if they were like deadly pollen or like some sort of intoxicate. I don't know what but I'm pretty sure it was the plants.
I still don't understand that movie.
I think it was the plants. I think it was like nature maybe getting back at us.
Yeah, he needs to stop making movies.
He did. He took a break, and now I think he's making better movies now.
Nah,
he had a great comeback,
right?
Visit I thought was okay, but like, no, not Glass.
Split.
That one was great. It's like he came back with Split, and I'm like, oh, he might be back. And then I saw Glass, and I'm like, never mind. I got my hopes up.
I actually don't. I haven't seen The Visit yet. It is on my schedule. I didn't mind Old. I thought there was another one that he did in between. I
think he did Old. I actually liked Old. I get to the point where I don't look for his name on movies, because if I do, I won't watch him.
I wonder for a while if they just stopped putting his name on movies and just like trick people into coming into the theaters and be like, it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
That's the twist.
That's the twist, right? You don't know until the very end of the film who actually did it. Let's see here. All right, I think that is our honorable mentions for the day, guys. So thank you very much for that. And guys, listen, if you're in the live chat, if you're watching, feel free to hit that like button, please. It definitely does certainly go a long way. And also, as we go through these topics, feel free to give your thoughts in the live chat section. We'll definitely go ahead and discuss some of the stuff that we talk about here with you guys. So if you have any of your own personal opinions, feel free to let them be known in the live chat section. And then at the end of today's episode, we'll be getting to your guys' live viewer questions. So thank you very much for submitting them. And if you haven't submitted them yet, feel free to go ahead and do so on the YouTube page. Click that community tab. There is a live viewer question set up for you. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and start diving into these main topics. You guys ready to go ahead and tackle this with me?
Yeah, let's go.
Always. Let's do this. We're going to go ahead and start off with one of the bigger announcements of the week, if you ask me, one that I certainly did not see coming from a mile away. And Stuart, I will continue to say this is why we always say never say never. In the words of Max from Wild Force, if we never thought that this would happen, never give up. Never give up. Anything is possible. And that is exactly what is happening here when it comes to Deadpool 3, as good old Hugh Jackman, ladies and gentlemen, is in fact set to go ahead and reprise his role as Wolverine. We wind up getting ourselves a fantastic announcement from good old Reynolds earlier this week. Gave us a great little video of how hard at work he certainly was at trying to come up with a great idea for Deadpool 3, trying to understand the depths of this character. And unfortunately, he just could not come up with anything. But we did at least have one great idea, and that idea is, in fact, to go ahead and bring back Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Guys, we were under the impression he said he was never going to do it again, but it seems as though good old Reynolds and maybe even Kevin Feige had something to do with this in regards to bringing him back. So let's go ahead and dive into this. This comes to us from the good old Hollywood, or I'm going to say Hollywood Reporter. Variety.com is reporting. It says Hugh Jackman is back as Wolverine and Deadpool 3 with Reynolds, and they actually have set a release date for this film coming in 2024, but it's actually September 6th, 2024. So go ahead and mark your calendars. So yeah, that is in fact the official release date. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I do believe Hugh Jackman also came out and I think they did two different videos, if I'm not mistaken. I think they did one of Ryan Reynolds just speaking, and then they did another video of Ryan and Hugh sitting on the couch together, really kind of telling us exactly what the storyline is going to be of Deadpool 3, but then we come to quickly realize it's been overlapped with like music, so you can't even really hear what they're saying at all. Did you guys get a chance to check out the secondary video for them?
Hilarious.
Yep.
It was some good stuff, man. It was some good stuff. So let's go ahead and dive into this. It looks like they're just repeating the same thing that good old Ryan Reynolds had said in his video. It does say that Sean Levy, who made Free Guy and the Atom Project with Reynolds, is directing Deadpool 3, which will officially join the MCU after Disney's purchase of Fox. It says the last time that X-Men fans saw Jackman as Wolverine was in 2016's R-rated Logan. Wolverine famously died in the end of that particular film. And apparently, according to Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, don't worry about it. They're definitely not going to be messing around with what happened in that particular movie. But the question does come up, guys. What is this movie even going to be? Because it just feels like it's made naturally to just be a new buddy cop film, if you ask me, between these two. Whatever these two are going to be doing, whether it be a road trip, hunting down villains, I'm all here for it. So let me go ahead and, since Indy hasn't been around here in quite some time, let's go ahead and jump over to Indy and see, what are your thoughts, man, in regards to this, the big announcement and his return?
Come on. It can't be anything other than it has to be either save Wolverine from dying, like Deadpool trying to save his friend from dying, or stopping something that wasn't supposed to happen, or what I really want, Deadpool kills the Fox universe.
Oh, so he just goes through everybody?
Yeah. I just want him to go and just kill off the entire Fox universe so we can just start fresh. and that's how we get Wolverine recasted, because he kills Hugh Jackman. Like not even Wolverine, like he kills Hugh Jackman.
Dude, that would be kind of trippy to see how they would pull something like that off. I mean, look, we are in the multiverse saga right now, right? So like anything is possible.
Yeah. What if he decides to be like, oh, you guys forgot about Coulson? Or you guys forgot? I'm waiting for a Coulson cameo. I want to see a Gifted cameo. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to see all like these Fox properties and these Marvel properties. Forgot, like, did you guys forget about Lady Sif? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like anything possible, I want to see them do. And the cool thing about Deadpool is that they'll actually do it.
Yeah, I am kind of curious as to, I would assume the creative freedom that Ron Reynolds has is out of this world in regards to putting this particular movie together. I wonder who that is. I don't know why when it comes to Facebook, they never put the user's name up there anymore. It's super weird to me. I wonder why that is.
Come to find out, if the users have a digital creator profile,
Oh, okay.
it won't show that. It's something about that right now they got to fix where it won't show the name for the comments.
Gotcha. Good old Datilla says, I'm so excited that Hugh Jackman is back as Wolverine. Yeah, let me ask you, Stuart. I'll go ahead and throw this over to you. What are your thoughts on the idea of his not only this announcement, but just his return in general, especially after he mentioned that he was kind of done as his time as Wolverine?
I mean, very surprising for the most part, but I guess my assumption is, like, I guess he saw Patrick Stewart reprising his role as a different version of Xavier, and he's like, you know what, if they're able to bring him back without ruining his amazing death from Logan, maybe they could do the same with my character. So I feel like that's probably what was going through his mind. But yeah, like, I'm really excited, and I'm so glad that they even addressed Logan, saying that don't worry, that movie still happens, Logan still dies in that movie, so nothing's getting retconned there. This is just, me playing a younger Wolverine and teaming up with Deadpool in Deadpool 3. So because of that, I'm really excited.
Yeah, I will say the difference, if there is a difference, I think the difference is probably Patrick Stewart ain't in the gym having to lift weights and get all ripped and stuff. Patrick Stewart can continue to be his old ass self. Just sit in this chair, Charles. I think that certainly works for him. But I feel like it's been a minute since I've seen Hugh Jackman in a movie or that he's done anything. And I'm not saying that this is like a payday for Hugh Jackman to certainly get him back. I'm sure he probably doesn't even need to do this role. But the fact that he's got such a great friendship with Ryan and they can just laugh and joke about anything, a great relationship already established, not only with Fox but also with Disney as well. Yeah, I'm sure they're open to the idea of Hugh Jackman certainly coming back. And I do wonder what this means overall for not only the Wolverine character, but where we go from here when it comes to the MCU now. I have always been fascinated with Wolverine because I think out of all the Fox characters, well, with the exception, I think now of maybe Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier, he's the only character that I think has like seamlessly been through different timelines, or is like, he's gone to the past, he's gone to the future. Like he's got this almost this embodiment of like this weary time traveler in some weird sense. And Indy will probably get this reference, the Jonathan Hickman stuff that we've seen him do in the past of Wolverine managing to survive several different like timelines, or at least capture that history of like all these different universes and timelines that he's kind of been through sort of in his own life and carry that over with him. It would be really fascinating if Hugh Jackman, especially with this Deadpool movie, if he sticks around for maybe even a longer period of time, or maybe he's in like the very first X-Men movie that we wind up getting. Hell, maybe Wolverine will get his own MCU solo film at some point in time. But it would be really cool to have Hugh Jackman stick around to at least be like an introductory aspect to the MCU with maybe a Wolverine that's got all this Fox back history still attached to him that he's knowledgeable and that he certainly knows, and maybe even pass the torch, or bring somebody else into the fold to be the new Wolverine, whether that be X-23 or we get a brand new Logan, like another variant or multiversal version of this particular character. I do think that there is comic book lore in Jonathan Hickman's work that would be really cool to adapt for our current Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, as maybe a one-off or like a one or two appearances. So I do think that this opens the gate for a lot more other opportunities for Hugh Jackman to certainly be around. I can't imagine at the age of 53 that he truly wants to continue to intensely work out the way that he does. So I don't know how many more opportunities we're going to have with him, but I'm super thrilled that he's at least back. And the fact that this, again, I think this is going to feel like a buddy cop sort of movie. I cannot wait to see what these the characters' chemistry is certainly going to be on screen. Like, we know that they got great chemistry as people. What are these characters certainly going to be like? It's going to be hilarious. I think I'm looking forward to it.
I still, so knowing that it's going to be in the MCU, I'm definitely kind of gonna get I'm getting like a fish out of water kind of vibe with this, and I could see Hugh Jackman hating it at first, but then having it grow on him, because now he's in a world where for the first time, people like him are actually admired instead of despised. You know what I mean? Like in the Fox universe, everyone hates mutants or people with powers, but in the MCU, you know, people with superpowers are considered like really cool, like superheroes.
Well, we haven't really even been introduced to. Oh, I don't want to say we haven't been introduced to mutants yet, but like mutants on a bigger scale. Wouldn't that be kind of crazy if like we've seen them kind of embrace the superhero, but like if mutants get introduced, you know, do they feel some type of way about them? Like, do they feel like they're not quite the same heroes? Are they like, you know, I don't want to say they're fake, but you know, or are because of the fact they've got a mutation, you know what I'm saying? Like, is it? I wonder if it would change the perspective of some of those in society of the MCU.
Is one of
I
the
think
reasons
the moment they become, like the moment they become common, yes, then
That's
I
what
think
you're
that'll be when the perspective changes. But for now, since like mutants, like the only one we even know about right now in the MCU is Miss Marvel. I think currently, like people would look at a mutant the same way they look at superheroes, as like, you know, being like really cool.
I also think that might be a reason why Namor is going to be so important in Wakanda Forever, because I think he could honestly change the perception on how people look at mutants, depending on, you know what I'm saying, what he does in that movie, and have a bigger overall, you know what I'm saying, avalanche happen, just because of what he was able to do, you know what I'm saying, being one mutant, what he was able to do against, you know what I'm saying, like the whole country of Wakanda, you know what I'm saying, type deal. So I want to see if that's going to have something to do with it. But also, on a note, what you were saying, I don't think Hugh Jackman's going to have an issue, because if he really comes back and wears that yellow and black suit,
oh, it just covers up all his workout physique.
Yeah, he doesn't have to work out as much. And now that I'm thinking about it, yes, we love Jonathan Hickman here. We love Jonathan Hickman because his writing is incredible till he gets bored. When he gets bored, we see what happens when he gets bored, when he gets towards the end of a run. But he's incredible at remapping universes, you know what I'm saying, and restarting stories. So I would love to see, going off of what Adam and what Stuart said, I would love to see like what if it's not just the X-Men? What if this is the a team that's put together without a Professor X, or the Professor X we know is the one that Hugh Jackman, you know what I'm saying, got to be around, and that's the influence we see, and we don't get another Professor X, you know what I'm saying, and it's Wolverine in the X-Men, you know what I'm saying. I would love that in a John Hickman, you know what I'm saying, style writing, you know, when it comes to that, because that could be something that happened, because we already, like you said, all that Fox lore, we already have that put into place. We know why Wolverine acts the way he acts, or is the way he is, and then him bringing that philosophy and teaching, you know what I'm saying, that team afterwards.
Yeah, it'll be interesting how they wind up including him into the MCU, and especially not only with his team up with Deadpool, but again, what are the ramifications going to be for those two characters coming out? And I will say, Indy too, you know, when we did our predictions for our Phase 6, you did call a Deadpool movie for that Phase 6. I was like, I don't know, that feels a little bit too early, but you had it on your docket. I think you aimed for February.
Yeah,
but this is coming out in September. But man, kudos for calling out the Deadpool movie.
I mean, we do what we do here. We're normally right. I mean, the time span, yeah, we could be off. We're normally right with what we choose, especially Stuart. Stuart throws some stuff out there I feel like it's never going to stick, and then it happens. And I'm like, okay.
It's the world we live in, man. Never say never, and never give up. I think those are some great important lessons to learn from good old Hugh Jackman, ladies and gentlemen. So let us know, guys. Hugh Jackman is in fact returning. How pumped are you? Did you think you would ever see the day? I honestly thought we were getting ready to go ahead and recast ourselves a new Logan. I'm sure they probably still will. Again, let me ask you before we move on. Is this the last Hugh Jackman time we see him as Wolverine, or do you expect him to pop back in at least one other time at least? At least.
I think one more time in Secret Wars. If he comes back, that's going to be the movie they bring him back for.
That would I can see that too. I can see Secret Wars sounds like a pretty good roadmap there to me, Stuart. What about you, Indy? Are you on the same page there, or you think somewhere else?
I'm thinking Secret Wars also, but I honestly think it depends on the time that Hugh Jackman has filming. You know what I'm saying? This particular movie. Because we have actors say they were done for a long time, and it's something, you know what I'm saying, whatever that word is.
Invigorating?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Their love for a character or something, you know what I'm saying, start up. Because maybe he felt like Wolverine's story was over, and now he's open to this whole new, you know what I'm saying, lane that Wolverine go through, and something that's going to allow him to play the character different. You know, and then he's like, I want to do this for a little while longer. I don't have to work out. I can just wear a suit. I can just do pop-ups like I'm, you know what I'm saying, Nick Fury, or, you know what I'm saying, Benedict Wong. Like, I don't have to carry an entire movie by myself and be a franchise. Oh, I can do this all day.
Yeah, that might honestly have something to do with it also in regards to not necessarily having to carry an entire franchise by yourself. And look, I think the opportunity just to work with Ryan Reynolds, one of his best friends, I think it will definitely, like, yeah, sign me up. Just put my name right on the dotted line. Hanging out with Ryan and shooting a movie together. Yeah, man. I mean, I feel like they've been teasing this stuff for years. So the fact that the opportunity has actually kind of arisen, I think is beautiful.
Yep.
But all right, guys, let us know your levels of anticipation and excitement for Hugh Jackman set to go ahead and return as Wolverine. Do you expect to see him in any other particular Marvel films also, or do you think this is going to be his one-off? Definitely go ahead and let me know your guys' thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. And I do think that they were even like posting videos, guys, of like him already working out also. So he's definitely getting in MCU shape. All right, guys, with that out of the way, we will go ahead and move on to our next topic. We have actually a lot of Marvel topics for you guys today, so certainly bear with us. The next topic we're going to be diving into, still in the MCU, we're going to be going to the darker side of the MCU a little bit, where we just talked about the idea of Werewolf by Night certainly dropping later on this October for us. We've already been introduced to Kit Harington's Dane Whitman as the Black Knight in the Eternals movie also. But one character we have not had the opportunity to see yet, but have definitely been teased, is the fantastic actor Mahershala Ali as Blade. And it seems as though this past week, guys, when it comes to the Blade movie, hiccups after hiccups after hiccups, and it's definitely showcasing a different side of Marvel Studios that I feel like we haven't really had the opportunity to see too much. The opportunity of like them faltering a little bit when it actually comes to putting a film together, as it certainly seems as though Blade is having its fair bit of complications here this time around. I'm pretty sure Marvel will certainly right the ship, but Mahershala Ali is quite frustrated, guys. So let's go ahead and dive into why that certainly is. And, you know, fellas, I actually found this pretty interesting, because Blade to me was already a movie that when it was announced felt like it was hey, we didn't quite have plans for Blade, but Ali really wanted to do a Blade movie, and so we're going to do a Blade movie and kind of fit it in for our upcoming phase sort of thing. And it definitely feels as though there are some issues. So let's go ahead and dive into this and see what's truly going on. So the first thing that wind up hitting us here this week, guys, Blade has lost its director, unfortunately. The director that they had set, Bassam Tariq, has in fact left the the project. This is from the Hollywood Reporter, an exclusive report. They were gearing up to shoot this fall. So literally, I mean, they were literally about to get in front of the cameras, I think in November. But let's go ahead and dive into this article and break this down. It says Blade will no longer have director Bassam Tariq at the helm. Blade, which has a release date of November 3rd, 2023. That's not happening. Was gearing up to begin shooting in November in Atlanta. It is unclear how Tariq's departure will impact the production start of the vampire action thriller, which has Oscar winner Mahershala Ali in the title role, with the cast also including Delroy Lindo, an amazing actor, and old actor Aaron Pierre. Due to continued shifts in our production schedule, Bassam is no longer moving forward as director of Blade, but will remain an executive producer on the film. Marvel said in a statement to The Hollywood Reporter, "We appreciate Bassam's talent and all the work he's done getting Blade to where it is." I do feel like when it comes to the MCU, they have been moving a lot of their projects back and forth and things like that, new release dates and release windows. And if you believe what Marvel's statement is, it seems as though the production schedule is what caused Bassam to no longer move forward as the director. It says Tariq thanked Marvel in his own statement, saying it's been an honor working with the wonderful folks at Marvel. We were able to put together a killer cast and crew, eager to see where the next director takes the film. So Bassam Tariq will in fact be staying on as executive producer, even though he's no longer a director. It does say that Blade has seen its start of production shift at least once before, if not twice, and sources say the project has undergone several rounds of script rewrites. Bo DeMayo, who has worked on shows such as Star Trek Strange New Worlds, The Witcher, and its animated feature spinoff, as well as Marvel's own Moon Knight, is the current writer. One source says the studio is already in search mode for a new director. So Marvel is not sleeping. They are looking for a brand new director. We don't have a director officially announced as of yet, but I think the fact of this script having already gone through several rounds of script rewrites, and don't get me wrong, I know when it comes to script writing, they do certainly go through their fair share of rewrites, but something feels different about it this time around. So let's go ahead and talk about this, guys. So yeah, how much of an impact, Stuart, do you think this will be in regards to Blade losing its director? And what are your thoughts on this?
I think, yeah, obviously, like the big thing is that it's definitely going to be pushing the movie back for a while. And I think finding a director both qualified and a director willing to work with Marvel, like knowing kind of like the little bit of the production snafus kind of going on with them trying to, I think right now Marvel's in a position where it's like they got the money to produce like all this amazing content. But that being said, money can only get you so far. And just because you can pay people to get things done by a certain time doesn't mean they're going to actually be able to physically be able to do it, because like, you know, there comes an extent where it's like they have other things they got to do too, especially when it comes to their VFX artists. So, you know, I think that'll be the challenge for them, is finding a director who's both qualified and wants it. But yeah, I do think, you know, worst case scenario, I wouldn't be surprised if the role of director just eventually were to fall to Mahershala Ali. Sorry, I have a hard time pronouncing.
Super difficult. Yeah, I totally get it.
But yeah, I do think that like it wouldn't surprise me too much if he ended up being the one to take up the directing mantle, because I mean he seems the most passionate about this project anyways. So you know, I'm not sure if he'd be able to multitask that way, but I think like you know, other actors have been able to, and I do think he's really talented. So you know, it's a possibility.
Yeah, I am kind of curious as to if Mahershala Ali even has any directing work. I haven't really even checked, or if it's something that Marvel would feel comfortable in giving this man a big tentpole film like Blade. Again, I don't know what the budget of it certainly is going to be, but he seems like he's a Definitely a capable actor. Whether or not he can do both and direct, directing is just a much bigger chore. So I would be interested to see if that's the route that they certainly go. India, I do want to throw this to you too. What do you think the impact is going to be of Blade losing its director? Do you think they're going to hit that November mark still, or do you think that's out of the question? And you did post something in our messenger board about a Doctor Strange director. I don't necessarily think that that's true, but what are your thoughts? Do you think that's possible of happening, or who do you think might direct the film?
Disney and Marvel seem pretty diligent at hiring from within, like taking people they know that have known track records with stuff they've done, and then giving them other jobs to do stuff. So that post that I made was basically me trying to say, what if, because Doctor Strange visually was stunning. There was some writing issues I had with it, but visually the pacing and how the movie went was good to me. And I love the way that they portray Scarlet Witch. So I was like, what if Sam Raimi, went ahead and took over the directing job for the Blade movie? If you have a good enough writer to put the story in place, you could let him, go ahead and do it. The only thing I have with Sam Raimi is I'm not too into his action scenes. And I think when we think of a Blade movie or Blade comics or Blade movies we've seen in the past, those were some of the best fight scenes that we have seen, in cinema, or let me say mainstream cinema, that we had saw on the screen since like me watching old Hong Kong flicks, on Channel 26 back in the day when I was growing up. So you have to find a good balance of the two. And I think there might be, some type of focus that the director probably wanted to do that was more story driven, and less action. And maybe that's why the director was kind of frustrated. But you can't, if you put a Blade movie out here that watches similar to what the Eternals did, you are going to get torn apart.
Yeah.
You have to have basically Underworld with a story, to get Blade over properly. And I think that's the problem. They're having a hard balance trying to figure out, how do we want this to play into the MCU and build off this expansive story that we're trying to tell, but still give people exactly what they want to see.
Yeah, no, I think you might be onto something there also. It's funny. I remember hearing about the Werewolf by Night special, and I thought I just read a report like last week or the week before that had said that Ali was set to have a cameo in that movie as Blade, but they decided to go ahead and cut him out of it, which felt interesting to me. Like, I wonder why he was cut from the film, and I do wonder if it's because of the fact that maybe this film itself isn't quite where they want it to be before release. So maybe they're trying to hold off on as many Blade appearances as they possibly can before they actually release their film. I don't know. Or maybe it just didn't work for Werewolf by Night, but I did find it rather interesting. But you're right, Indy, in the sense that when it comes to having to, whether it be the script or at least the tone of this particular film, they definitely have to get it right here. And I love your comparison to that of like Underworld with the story. So I thought that was pretty interesting. If anything, I will throw a name out there in regards to director. I don't know how busy he currently is right now, but I've definitely seen his interest in doing a Blade movie. The John Wick director, Chad Stahelski. I believe there's a part of me that thinks that John Wick 4 has already wrapped. So maybe he's kind of already done on that film. I could be wrong, but I think he was also attached to the Ghost of Tsushima movie adaptation that we might be getting also. But if I were to have my choice, it probably would be Chad Stahelski. I mean, just seeing what he's been able to do with the martial arts aspect of his films, and just the dark and grittiness aspect, I think he could probably really have a fantastic time in the world of Blade if given that opportunity. And so I have just heard his interest in it. So whether or not that's something that Marvel decides to go with, we'll definitely see. But So while they don't have a director, it seems as though because of that and maybe other reasons, good old Mahershala Ali is quite frustrated with how things are certainly going. So let's dive even a little bit further into this and just kind of see what's really going on behind the scenes. This is coming to us from IGN.com, saying that he's very frustrated with the process. It says Ali is reportedly very frustrated with the production on Marvel's upcoming vampire movie, with the script featuring just 2 lackluster action sequences. It says Jeff Snyder, a noted industry insider, recently tweeted that he had been told the current Blade script is roughly 90 pages and features exactly 2 lackluster action sequences, and that apparently Ali is very frustrated with the process. He says, please don't shoot the messenger. That's just what sources are telling me. It says, while the script lengths naturally vary from film to film, a usual rule of thumb is to expect each page to translate into a minute of a movie. Should Snyder's information be correct, a 90-page script would make Blade very short for a Marvel film. So what's an hour and a half? And if there were only 2 action sequences, that won't expand the runtime by much. Of course, runtime is no indication of quality, but if Ali is as frustrated as Snyder's sources claim, then things may not be looking great for Blade right now. He also says that in a second tweet, he's also hearing that Bo DeMayo is coming on to work on the script. He's currently writing for X-Men 97. Oh, okay. So I thought he was the writer of the script already, and they were going through rewrites of his script. But it sounds like they have a script in place. They've been doing rewrites, and now they're bringing in Bo DeMayo, who has worked on X-Men 97, Strange New Worlds, Moon Knight, and The Witcher, among others, to go ahead and work on the script. It says the current Blade script was penned by Stacey Osei Kuffour. Okay, so they who previously worked on The Watchmen, which that kind of surprises me because I was a huge fan of the Watchmen series. So to kind of see him really struggling to come up with a Blade script is really concerning, but it seems as though they might have a new writer in place. So hopefully this new writer will certainly make Ali feel a lot more secure. It also says that Jeff Snyder also added that Feige is said to be spread too thin. Kevin Feige is, of course, the Marvel boss who oversees all of the MCU projects. There are currently 14 films and 15 TV shows in various stages of development right now. So a lot of things to certainly discuss here. Kevin Feige possibly spread too thin. Bo DeMayo coming in to go ahead and work on rewriting the script. And apparently just a 90-page script with really lackluster action sequences in it. Guys, this is not looking too good. Would you say?
Yeah, and this really surprises me because I remember a while ago when we were first talking about the production of Blade and everything that they were looking for going into it. It seemed like they were taking this movie a lot more seriously than I expected. Because, I think I mentioned it before. I love the Blade movies, but they're just really fun, action, like kind of horror elements movies, but nothing that I would ever say would be like Oscar worthy or anything like that. But the way they were talking about this Blade movie and how they really wanted this to be something incredible, it seemed like they were really going for like a high bar compared to what you normally get from a Marvel movie. So to kind of see a script for this movie only being 90 pages, because keep in mind, like you even mentioned, like in the article itself, it said that most scripts, one page is usually 1 minute. That's like the rule of thumb. But like when it comes to Marvel movies, most Marvel movies have really big scripts because they're kind of like expecting that a good majority of what they film is probably not even going to make it into the final project or to the final product. So to hear about a 90-page script for Blade, I think that's the most concerning thing about this whole thing, because it almost sounds like a script where it's just trying to cover the basics, but not really one that has like a lot of heart and effort put into it. The lack of fight scenes doesn't surprise me too much because, again, you like you mentioned, the writer of Watchmen, and Watchmen, as great of a show as it was, it didn't really rely too much on the action. So that part didn't concern me too much, but just the 90-page script thing. I mean, That's how I write. I like to write comedies, and that's usually how long my scripts are 90 pages, which is good for a comedy, not so much for a superhero movie.
Yeah, it kind of feels like it's lacking like depth. It's just like a hollowness to it at like 90 at like a 90-minute feature. And I do think we probably want to sink our teeth, no pun intended, a little bit more into this type of film. Well, what do you think, those, Indy, in regards to just all the frustration that Ollie's expressing, the idea of Kevin Feige maybe being spread too thin, somebody new coming in to work the script? What do you want to bring up and talk about?
When it comes to Feige, I think Feige's similar to except he gets stuff done like George R. Martin is. Like he has a plan out and he places people in to do that plan. But I honestly don't think Kevin Feige spread too thin. I think it's just the elements for Blade to come into the MCU aren't ready yet. And I think when Mahershala Ali got cast, I felt like they announced him too early, but off that Oscar praise that he was getting, you know what I'm saying? They wanted to throw that out there. I feel like Mahershala was okay. We've lost this great actor, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to Chadwick Boseman. You know what I'm saying? Mahershala Ali feels to me like that type of actor that could replace, you know what I'm saying, Chadwick Boseman's impact in another African American led, you know what I'm saying, style film. And I just feel that Blade is something that has to be done very well, and we have to be patient with it because of think about it. Blade saved the MCU. Like there wasn't going to be Marvel movies and stuff like that if Blade wasn't successful. If this Blade movie sucks, it could possibly kill the MCU because they're waiting on us to whiff. Like they wanted Eternals to be so bad, but nobody cares about the Eternals anyway, just like they don't care about the Inhumans. But it was a story that needed to be told for the overall thing of what they're doing. So it's kind of like, what are you gonna do? You got to keep Mahershala Ali happy. He wants his movie out because if you're an actor and you got a lead role in this, you're looking at how much money these movies make. You're looking at what these movies do. You're like, I want my money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to do this. I want to be out there. And you don't know what type of roles he's missing, putting stuff on hold, being tied up in a Marvel thing. You know what I'm saying? So I understand his frustration, but man, you got to be patient with greatness.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. You definitely do. And I do wonder if there's something to that, in the sense of maybe they did cast him a little bit way too early off of the hype of his Oscar. I mean, last time I remember, if I remember the announcement correctly, I think it was Kevin Feige that said Ali called them and was like, I want to do Blade. And they were like, hey, whatever you want, Mr. Ali. And they gave him this opportunity to do it. And so I think that's one of the reasons why I was like, this feels very much like Blade maybe wasn't on the mind of Feige at the time, but since Ali wanted to do it, now that they've got to try and figure out how to place everything into the MCU, I will say I do think there is some credence to the idea of Kevin Feige being spread too thin. I do wonder if it's the case of, people are already complaining about phase 4, calling it phase bore and stuff, right? And we've talked about the idea of like, you just got to be patient. Like there is a much bigger plan that's kind of coming to fruition there. And I do wonder if maybe some of the hiccups or, maybe, so I don't even say subpar, but maybe the good stuff, not great stuff, of what we've been getting in regards to the MCU is a showcase that maybe Kevin Feige is being spread a little bit too thin, where he can't really spend a lot of his attention and focus on these projects as much as he certainly used to. Not to say that he doesn't care about them anymore, but he's got a big job, a lot on his plate right now. And so there is a part of me that kind of wishes that maybe Kevin Feige brings somebody else in as his own right-hand man. I feel like the MCU has grown exponentially since he kind of took over, and now that we're at this point, because I don't think phase 6 is going to be the last of what the MCU is working on, right? So I do think maybe bringing in an extra pair of eyes to kind of help Kevin Feige out would probably go a really, really long way. But we'll definitely have to see how how it turns out. Marcelino says even the Illuminati has called Phase 4 Phase bore. I mean, I wouldn't even say it's a bore so much as it's just an introductory, I think, to so many brand new characters that each of these characters have their own unique styles and tones to their shows that it probably feels like it's all over the place. But I kind of think of it as like a collage. You know, the idea of, you ever see those like, do you ever see those photos, those big blown up photos? But then when you look in closely at each pixel, it's like a different picture of something. That's kind of how I see like the MCU right now. Like we see the MCU as a bigger picture, but when you actually look in at all the little pixels, it's each little different show with its own different style, and it brings its own different tone to the MCU, and then it works into something bigger. And that's kind of how I see Phase 4 at this point, that they're all going to be distinctly unique and different, but just because they are doesn't mean that they aren't connected or doesn't add to what the bigger overall picture is certainly going to be. So like, I like seeing these characters in their own environment, and if anything, I'm probably find myself more excited for MCU films going forward than I do maybe like some of the Disney Plus stuff, although Secret Invasion's looking mighty damn good, where like there are some gems in there that I definitely do think we should certainly be focusing on. So there is a part of me that believes that there is some belief back there that Kevin Feige is maybe being spread a little bit too thin. But if there is anybody that I believe can right the ship and get things back in focus, it's definitely Blade. But I would expect this Blade movie to definitely be moved. I'm not expecting a 2023 release of this film at all. What about you guys?
2025 maybe.
I'm thinking at latest like late 2024, like October, November 2024. You know what I'm saying? At the earliest, but 2025 to me, especially how the phases mapping up. If you look for a place to, it depends on where this movie is going to be at in that story and how bad they need this to come out before they're able to continue whatever that multiverse saga is. I'm with you. I don't believe this has been boring at all. I feel like the first part of Phase 1 was the most boring part, like, because the Thor movie, Iron Man, don't tell me you like that Captain America First Avenger movie.
I hate it.
The first time you watched it, like the Phase 1 was the most boring setup to trying to get to an Avengers movie to start off with. So I mean,
I like Thor and Iron Man 1. I will agree with you on the first Avengers, though. People used to get on my ass for not liking the first Captain America movie.
I'm talking about compared to like storytelling. When you get into this phase hasn't been boring to me. It's just been a lot of character development, story phase, and people just want action, because that's all we had for like 3 phases. They don't know how to stop. Let us set up these storylines in order to go. And between the television and the movies, I feel like we gotten a lot. Falcon and the Winter Soldier was amazing. Why, you know what I'm saying? WandaVision, Loki,
Great
different stuff like that, like tying into what's going on in the movies. I don't look at Doctor Strange and see boring. That movie moved too fast for me. Like it was just action. I'm like, slow down for a second.
Yusai says Phase 4 is just a long ass Thor: The Dark World. He says, watch Secret Wars make everyone be like, those films weren't bad. Remember, like Endgame made us all rethink Thor: The Dark World a little bit more. Yeah. I do wonder if like watching Secret Wars will have people rethinking Phase 4.
People just want action. They're not into like storytelling and stuff no more. They want stuff to happen right now instead of, you know what I'm saying, letting stuff happen gradually. What do you feel about this comment? I don't know how I feel. Some people think about black characters are interchangeable. Blade is not T'Challa. They mean 2 different things. However, Blade is an amazing character outside of his race.
I mean, I guess it just depends. I guess it maybe just depends on how you took what you said. I mean, I looked at it as not that I expect Blade to be the next T'Challa, but I think you just mean impact that Chadwick Boseman has. I mean, because I think Ali definitely has that same level of what's the word I'm looking for? Impact. He definitely has that same impact that I think Chadwick Boseman certainly has. I think Boseman passing definitely makes us view Boseman in certainly a different light than it is Ali. So I don't think it's the Blade character taking over or going to replace like T'Challa, but I do think the idea of having Ali in such an impactful role like Blade that was inspired from, Wesley Snipes, from back in the day. I do think that again, I don't know if it's going to be as impactful as Chadwick Boseman, but I get what you were personally saying, Indy.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you saying. You know what I'm saying? I just feel that to me, and I all respects, you know what I'm saying, to Chadwick Boseman. I love the character T'Challa, but to me, like, even though he was like the first big black, you know what I'm saying, African American character, you know what I'm saying, for Marvel, to me, my introduction to African American character in Marvel was Blade. It was Wesley Snipes. I did, you know what I'm saying, I didn't read that. That was something for me, seeing that character with what Black Panther did for a lot of the younger generation now, you know what I'm saying, is what Blade did for me, being able to see that character on screen, seeing Wesley Snipes play that, and seeing somebody, an actor of the caliber of Mahershala Ali, you know what I'm saying, take on that role, to me is just as important, because like I said, we all know the story of where Marvel was going, you know what I'm saying, until Blade came out. You know what I'm saying, and revitalized, you know what I'm saying, a lot was going on with the comics and different movies and stuff like that. To me, it was Blade and Iron Man, you know what I'm saying, that created, you know what I'm saying, the MCU, because it showed that, you know what I'm saying, superhero movies were profitable. So I don't know. I feel like that character, honestly, too, with Blade being African American with his race, was one of the biggest points in his story, because he experienced things that, you know what I'm saying, other characters didn't. You know what I'm saying, from, you know what I'm saying, him being African American, from the way he came up and how his story and stuff went, and was able to blend in and move in certain ways because of the color of his skin. So that was, you know what I'm saying, another big thing to me. But man, I don't care if they take till 2028 to do this movie. This movie has to be right.
Yeah,
110% right, because if you screw this movie up, you might mess up the entire MCU.
I say definitely move this to 2024. I would agree with you, Indy. I think November, October 2024 will certainly work. But then it does bring up the position of, does that mean you got to move everything? You know what I'm saying? Like, does everything else got to be pushed back? Can you fit Blade in between other movies without having to disturb the phases that you're kind of getting into? I am kind of curious what that means. What do you think, Stuart?
I think the only movie it would really affect is Eternals 2 or The Black Knight, depending on which one of those two comes out first. Just because, like, that's the one where we first kind of get an introduction to Blade, so it's kind of implied that he's going to play somewhat of a role in those. Other than that, I feel like anything that were to come out like between now and 2024, anything that like maybe they plan to put Blade in, I don't think it'd be that hard to write him out and have a different character replacing him for that role until we can get like a Blade movie, or at the very least until we know exactly what this Blade movie is going to be, so that it doesn't like, you know, because the last thing you want to do is introduce a character, introduce an aspect about that character that now that writer of that movie is kind of stuck with. So until the writer and director know exactly what they're doing with the Blade movie, I think it's smart to like not put him in anything MCU related until that happens.
Exactly. And I think they're stuck because I think they're putting the cart before the horse, and like they're chasing like something like the Midnight Suns, not knowing if we're even ready, you know what I'm saying, so for something like that, because if that's the case, you got a lot of setting up to do before we even get there. Any
chance Ali leaves the project, or do you think that's unheard of?
Not.
If it's true that he called and asked, you know what I'm saying, asked Marvel and decides to leave the project, that's not gonna look good on him. I don't see him doing that, because that looks like, all right, we set this whole thing up, we're trying to do this, you asked us to do it, and now because we're not moving fast enough because we had a plan in place and we're trying to fit you in, and then you walk away because we're not doing it fast enough, that looks bad on him. And that's probably not something you want to play with a powerhouse like you know Marvel. What I'm saying, Marvel and Disney, because boy, you talk about somebody that can blackball you out of anything. Don't play with the mouse.
Well, to an extent, okay, like to an extent, because at the same time, even though he called Marvel did give him like kind of like, I'm assuming they gave him a promise of like when things would be getting underway and that kind of stuff. And so for them to not do that end of it, I do think he has a right to be frustrated for that. And if he ends up leaving it, I think it could look bad on both him and Marvel. Him for, leaving the project that was his idea in the first place. Marvel for just, clearly if they pissed off an actor like him so much to the point where he just gave up, they did something wrong on their end as well.
Yeah, I there's a part of me that the only reason why I bring that up is just because I think what Indy had said about, he's maybe missing out on other roles and other opportunities, to kind of get in front of the camera and do his craft, and that is being an actor. And so when you're sitting on the sidelines and you're stuck waiting for something to constantly get put into production and be ready to film when they say they're going to be able to film, it definitely throws off the rest of his sort of filming schedule and opportunities that he certainly might have. So that's the only reason why I threw out that question of, is it a point of like, is he that frustrated where he's literally would think about even walking off and just like, being like, hey, I'm done. I want to take other opportunities. So I don't know. It's just something to think about.
Man, I don't know, because I don't think if that's the case, I don't think you understand how big this Blade role is. Like this, it may just look like a comic book movie of people who, are uninspired or don't know what's going on. This is a role people will fight for. This is a role. It's about a million other people. I'm just being funny. You know what I'm saying? Nick Cannon will probably give up 9 of his 15 kids.
No, I ain't trying. No, we ain't bringing Nick Cannon into this. No,
I'm just saying he would give up 9 of his 15 kids to have this role.
I'm sure he would, and nobody would pay him to see this movie. Like nobody would go out to the movies to see Nick Cannon as Blade. I ain't getting that ticket. I'm not getting that midnight ticket.
This could be a Will Smith comeback. Will Smith just sitting there like, hey Marvel, if you don't want to do it, I'm cheap and I'm here.
I got no problem slapping somebody.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
just get into the middle of a scene where someone's like drinking the blood out of his wife's neck and then just going, take my wife's neck out your effing mouth.
Wow. All right, we done jumped the shark on this article. All right, guys, let us know your thoughts. Are you as frustrated as Ali with the lack of development for Blade? Let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. Who would you even suggest to go ahead and be the new director for this particular movie? Do you have anybody in mind? Definitely go ahead and let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. It's just fascinating to me to kind of see Marvel in this situation. I feel like it's not very often that we do get to see them in that situation. I mean, Patty Jenkins leaving Thor: The Dark World. I'm trying to think if there's ever been any other issues in the MCU like that. Edgar Wright maybe no longer being on Ant-Man, but I think by that time, the MCU had changed drastically and just had a different vision for what Ant-Man was going to be. But I don't feel like we see this very often. Do you guys think so?
Ooh.
There was also Scott Derrickson.
That's a great one, Usain. That's a great one.
Somebody's paying attention.
Jordan Peele. That would be a great suggestion. Well, and what do you say, Stuart? I'm sorry.
Wait, what did I say?
You brought up somebody in regards to like other times the MCU has.
Oh, right, Scott Derrickson.
Scott Derrickson, yes, from Doctor Strange 2. Yeah, right. Okay, so yeah, maybe it's just building up now. Maybe they're just starting to like they want to compete with Warner Brothers Discovery is what they're trying to go after. All right, guys. With that,
well, then they got to finish Blade and then remove it as a tax write-off. There you go.
No, yeah, just never see it ever again. So from one Marvel cinematic universe film to another, since we actually just brought up T'Challa, I do think it's interesting and time to go ahead and get into a little bit of a Black Panther Wakanda Forever preview for you guys. Because good old Empire magazine this week has been releasing some brand new photos along with some brand new articles to give us further insight in regards to the upcoming sequel to Black Panther. And if I could be honest with you guys, this is just becoming the hype machine is rolling for me. Talk about one of my most anticipated movies this year, probably right next to Black Adam. Adam. I'm honestly pumped for this movie, and anytime that I see a new trailer or footage or read an article from one of these actors, I continue to get more and more hyped. But this week, we're going to be diving into two aspects here of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Namor himself, along with Kevin Feige, talking a little bit about the recasting of T'Challa and their decision making in regards to it. So let's go ahead and dive into this, fellas, shall we? The first article we'll go ahead and bring up, we'll talk a little bit about Namor here and seeing with Tinoch Huerta had to certainly say about it. Empire Magazine, this says Namor is a dream antagonist for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, says Ryan Coogler. And they do give us a new exclusive image. So let me go ahead and pull up this image for you guys also. You guys check out the image while I go ahead and read the article. It says, let me see. I'm going to scroll further a little bit. Here we go. It says, a mainstay of Marvel Comics since the late 1930s. That's crazy to think about. Namor is also the leader of an advanced civilization, has often clashed with Black Panther on the page, making him a prime candidate to strike up some drama in Wakanda Forever. The contrast between T'Challa and Namor, their characters and their nations, just leaps off the page, says Coogler of the comic book runs. He's a dream antagonist. And they even highlight the brand new image. Also, I'm loving the design, man. Like just the jewelry design, the weapons design, incredible stuff. It does say here that Namor will be played by Mexican actor Tinoch Huerta, previously seen in The Forever Purge and Tigers Are Not Afraid. With this incarnation of the character inspired by the culture and history of Mesoamerica, he says you can take Atlantis from Greek myth, or you can adapt from a real culture, is what Tinoch argued. He says rather than the ruler of Atlantis on a screen, he's the ruler of Talocan. And he's drawn to the surface by the ramifications of T'Challa's decision in Black Panther's final reel to reveal the truth of Wakanda to the world. That decision puts Talocan in jeopardy, and Talocan has to take action to protect themselves. One detail that is carrying over from the comics, according to Huerta, his Namor is indeed a mutant. So we're getting some mutant introduction here. But I do find this pretty telling, guys, in the sense that Wakanda was very much hidden from the world. The truth of what they were was hidden. And with them revealing themselves, it seems as though they are not the only civilization, I would assume, that is hidden, or that there is a truth about that people are not aware. And it seems as though that is, in fact, Talocan, the place here where Namor is, in fact, the ruler of. And so I actually do find that as a pretty interesting dynamic in regards to kicking off this feud between Wakanda and this other city here. Stuart, or Indy, I will pass this over to you first. What are your thoughts on that revelation here of the dual parallels, I guess you could say, of Wakanda and Talocan, along with the idea of Namor being a mutant?
Namor being a mutant, like I said, is a big deal, because I think his actions are how the world is going to perceive mutants. You know what I'm saying? Because it only takes the actions of one to make you judge, you know what I'm saying, the many. Rather than it could be 2 million people doing the right thing, one person does the wrong thing, and all of a sudden you're all bad. You know, that's the way it's looked at. I love the Spanish, the Mexican, you know what I'm saying, representation, and the flip on the story. I felt like they weren't going to do Atlantis, considering that Aquaman, you know what I'm saying, the DC got out there and did it first. Is, to me, like, it's just confusing to the casual, you know what I'm saying, viewer, because now it's like, are these related, anything like that? I love the Aztec, you know what I'm saying, heritage background, the jewelry, you know what I'm saying, the look, and the fact that not everybody wants to be known to the world, and the fact that Wakanda is opening up its borders, you know what I'm saying, anything that Wakanda didn't know about. That, let's take it back to the rumblings under the sea, in was that Infinity War Endgame? That was Endgame, right? The rumblings in the sea that nobody found anything.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Those rumblings are possibly happening because they're gearing up for war. You know what I'm saying? Stuff is happening because people know where you are. Sooner or later, they're going to search below you or search around you to find more of what you have, so they don't have to come to you for it. And that's putting our civilization that has lived peacefully for all these years, you know what I'm saying, in jeopardy. You know what I'm saying? So now we can't attack them. We got to attack you to take you out and then take them out, you know what I'm saying, and to defend us. It's the right thing to do when you're looking at war. Take out the enemy that's closest to you. You know what I'm saying? So you can't be attacked on both fronts. So it's going to bring in kind of like a conflict to where, again, you're going to have a villain who you feel is right in his actions because he's defending his home, but just might be misled, you know what I'm saying, and what's going on. And our heroes having a cloudy conscience because, yeah, what they were doing was right for the world. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying, you put a weight or you hurt, you know what I'm saying, somebody else trying to do the right thing.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I'm actually really pumped to see Ryan Coogler tackle this character and really kind of bring him to life, especially with the idea of him saying, like we could have easily pulled from Greek mythology or wherever else we certainly wanted to, but I think the idea of Ryan Coogler pulling from a real culture, I think will certainly really go a long way. I also want to say in here, let's see here, it says, for comic fans, it's a chance to finally see one of the longest running Marvel characters finally take to the big screen. Though there were initial plans for Namor to be teased years ago. Kevin Feige says Ryan had a pitch for a tag at the end of Black Panther. The camera would push through the palace in Wakanda, and then we'd see wet footprints leading up to the throne. And then it says, get ready for the ultimate clash of kingdoms. So it seems as though Ryan Coogler already had in his mind that he wanted to tackle Namor at the end of Black Panther in that I'm assuming a now deleted scene. But I actually find that pretty interesting that that's the route that he certainly wanted to go. So Stuart, let me ask you this. What do you think of that last little bit of information Kevin Feige gave us at the end? And just what are your thoughts on the idea of Namor being a mutant?
With him being a mutant makes a lot of sense, and it's cool that we're finally kind of expanding that side of the MCU. I'm really looking forward to seeing where it's going. As for the tease at the end, gets me even more excited for this movie because now we know this is something that, like, even though obviously Chadwick Boseman's death was something that no one could have possibly foreseen, it's kind of cool knowing that at least the conflict that's going to be in this is something that was something that Ryan had planned from the beginning. So it kind of gives me this idea that maybe he had like this overall big picture of what we're going to be seeing in Wakanda Forever. And so I'm really curious to see how much of like his original plan ended up getting impacted because of Chadwick Boseman passing away, and whether or not like that impact is really going to have like an impact, not just like in terms of the writing that they have to adjust in order to make the story make sense, but if suddenly like now the thought is, okay, without having a T'Challa in this world, would the conflict have a very different outcome because of it? So I'm kind of curious to see like how this like all kind of like how the conflict comes to an end. Like if originally maybe he had an idea of a peaceful resolve, but now without T'Challa, maybe it may not get to end that way, kind of a thing.
And you might be right. I do think there's a situation here where it's because of the fact that T'Challa is gone. This is definitely maybe moved up their plans to go ahead and do this now, rather than wait, not having that protagonist or that pushback on the side of the leader of Wakanda being there in Black Panther. This is definitely a fantastic opening for Namor and his people to certainly go ahead and do that. So I do think that you're onto something there, Stuart, also.
I also do want to comment really quick on the Atlantis thing, because one of the unique things about Atlantis, I do want to point out, is that no one has an idea of where exactly was located. It literally could have been anywhere in the world. People just assume it was located in certain areas because of where Plato himself was from. However, he did a lot of traveling around the world. So it is very possible that if Atlantis was a real place, which, I'm personally on the side of believing that it's not a real place, it is very possible that that's where it could have been located.
Shame on you,
So it
Stuart.
still could be Atlantis, is all I'm saying.
Oh yeah, it certainly could still be Atlantis. It's almost like trying to find the lost city of gold.
Yeah.
Let's and then just leaning further into Wakanda Forever, one of the biggest dramas that I think one of the bigger talking points was definitely the idea of, where do you go from here now that Chadwick Boseman is gone? The recasting aspect of things. Do you recast? Do you kill off T'Challa? How do you handle this sort of thing? And so I actually found it interesting here for Kevin Feige to actually go ahead and talk about this week. This is from Empire Magazine. Talks about the recasting of T'Challa, saying that maybe it was much too soon at the time to possibly to recast him. So let's go ahead and dive into exactly what he's saying here. It says, speaking to Empire, Kevin Feige opened up about the decision not to recast T'Challa. He says it just felt like it was much too soon to recast, likening their approach to Marvel's long-standing ethos in the comics. He says Stan Lee always said that Marvel represents the world outside your window. And we had talked about how, as extraordinary and fantastical as our characters and stories are, there's a relatable and human element to everything we do. The world is still processing the loss of Chad, and Ryan poured his heart into the story. It says once Feige and Coogler figured out where they wanted to go, they got back to work on making a sequel that really mattered. The conversations were entirely about, yes, what do we do next? And how could the legacy of Chadwick and what we had done to help Wakanda and the Black Panther become these incredible, aspirational, iconic ideas continue? That's what it was all about. And it says we'll find out exactly how Wakanda Forever honors that legacy in just a few weeks' time. So, according to Kevin Feige, again, I'll repeat that. He says, it just felt like it was much too soon to recast. Stan Lee always said that Marvel represents the world outside your window. And we had talked about how, as extraordinary and fantastical as our characters and stories are, there is a relatable and human element to everything we do. The world is still processing the loss of Chad, and Ryan poured that into the story. And for me, guys, this is like where I really got to get my tissues ready, because I think this hits on the head just how emotional that this story truly is. Like, I do feel like this is going to be a very cathartic experience for a lot of people, and I know there probably will be some people that will say, well, how long has it been has it been since Chadwick Boseman passed? You guys know it's been like a year, 2 years. I feel like it's been a minute. So the idea of it being too soon, some people will be like, well, look, man, it's been a year, it's been 2 years. I think it'll be okay, if you were to go ahead and recast. But I think during the time when that is a decision that you have to make so that you can begin prepping and putting your film together, there's part of me that does feel that, Kevin Feige was at least onto something here, in the sense that maybe it was a little bit too soon in the idea of recasting a character like T'Challa. And when he says people are still processing the passing of Chadwick, I think people still are. And I do think it's a case of, it doesn't matter how much time has necessarily passed. We haven't really seen Chadwick as T'Challa or Black Panther like in a minute, right? We haven't seen a Black Panther movie in quite some time. So I do think that even though it's been years since we personally have said farewell to Chadwick, I think the idea of coming back to a Black Panther movie without Chadwick is something that's completely different. And I think it's a level of processing his passing and his death that maybe us as viewers haven't really had that opportunity to sit down with and truly embrace and understand. I think we may think that we do, but I do think once we actually see what Ryan Coogler has put in place for Black Panther and Wakanda Forever, and he taps into those very real emotions, I think this is going to be the moment for the world to finally be able to say farewell to Chadwick Boseman the correct way and really be able to finally sit with our feelings and our emotions in their rawest form by watching this particular movie. And I think seeing how the actors and the characters in this movie will also react. I think when we see the film for ourselves, we'll probably think to ourselves, you know what? Yeah, they probably shouldn't have recast T'Challa just because of maybe Boseman's impact, or at least when he says it's too soon. I don't think that I don't think that takes it off the table. I do think that maybe somewhere down the line, maybe they certainly will. Again, we are in the multiversal saga, but I do think being able to fully accept his passing, sit down with those emotions, I do think it probably is still too soon, and people are still processing it. And I don't think people realize it until they actually will sit down and watch Wakanda Forever and probably take a step back and think, yeah, they probably handled this the correct way. So I am expecting for a very emotional moment for myself. And for many people that go ahead and see this movie, because I do think in a weird way it's going to be very cathartic for people, and the closure that I think a lot of people certainly need in their lives when it comes to Boseman's passing, and the idea of being able to move on with this particular story for Black Panther. So that's how I view it. So I definitely understand the mindset that Kevin Feige is in, of it feeling way too soon, especially when you have to make that determination right then and there. Where do you go, sort of thing. Again, I would never want to be in Kevin Feige's shoes, or Ryan Coogler for that matter, in regards to tackling this. But I feel like they probably did it, Stuart. I honestly think so. But what do you think, Stuart? When you hear this from Kevin Feige, do you feel it was much too soon? Do you think that people still haven't quite processed the passing of Chadwick? What do you think about what Feige had to say in this article in general?
So my overall thoughts, I've heard arguments that are good on both sides, of recasting him and then not recasting him, and something that gets really irritating for me whenever I'm on Twitter is whenever I see people trying to say that it's like either version of the argument is disrespectful. I don't think either one is disrespectful. I think it's always about how you go about it. That all being said, I think Kevin Feige brought up a very important point. They started working on this script like not that long after he had passed away. So like the idea of, having the idea already of, okay, we need to find a new cast member for him after he had just passed away. Yeah, I do kind of agree with Kevin. That does come off as way too soon. So I do think overall this is a really good decision on their part. And especially now because we got everything going on with the multiverse, if fans after this movie still think that recasting Chadwick Boseman is like the correct move, that's still a possibility. Like we could still get another Black Panther, with T'Challa. Just it would be like a different. It just wouldn't be Chadwick Boseman. So I do think it's still possible after this movie, and people just need to wait and see what exactly the vision that Ryan has going into this is going to be before jumping on the whole it's disrespectful that they didn't recast him kind of train. And again, like I said, I've heard good arguments on both sides, but I think overall I'm kind of standing with Kevin and Ryan here. I think that was overall like kind of the smarter decision to make, given again how soon it was.
And I do think there's some, even, and I'm glad you brought that up, Stuart, because I do think that there's a lot to it in the sense that, Feige, Ryan, and the rest of the crew, they've been working on this project without Chadwick for like the past year or 2 years. I'm sure that there is a sense of emptiness that they kind of feel without having Boseman there on set when they're putting this together. And the idea of Wakanda Forever turning into an opportunity for the MCU and his family and his friends to honor Chadwick, I don't want to say I don't know if you can do that, but I almost feel like it would be odd if you were to recast T'Challa and then also at the same time try and honor Boseman. And I say that in the sense that I guess there's a part of me that's leaning towards wanting to see them dive into the emotional aspect of things. What did the loss of this character do to these characters? The mother, the sisters, right? His brother in arms, sort of thing. I think the passing of T'Challa definitely is certainly going to be included in the storyline, but really be a motivational point of emphasis for the story, so we can get into that emotional aspect of things that I think probably wouldn't be there or wouldn't be as raw had we recast T'Challa immediately. Like, I do think that this movie would have turned out to be just something completely different. And so I do think that this is a way for them to certainly honor. Oh, thank you, babe. I do think that this is a way for them to certainly honor him in that route and allow us as the viewer to kind of pay those last sort of farewells, if that makes any sense. But what do you think, Indy, when you hear Kevin Feige talking about that he felt it was much too soon at the time, how emotional this movie is, and that Ryan is really pouring the idea of these very real world issues into this movie?
I agree with it. I agree with everything that's happened. I understand the whole recast T'Challa, you know what I'm saying, movement and how they feel about it. But I don't think they truly understand from the aspect of the director, the castmates, and everything on what they want to do. This is the best I've heard this explained is the way you're explaining it. Wanting to show, you know what I'm saying, how the world's affected from the loss of a character who, this is a comic book movie, just because they say the character is killed off or missing, doesn't show back up, and they, you know what I'm saying, they can't find old med, whatever may happen, doesn't mean that the character is not going to be back. You know what I'm saying? So I like the aspect of them having to deal in a world that has had, remember, Wakanda's had him his entire life. They went from his father, him, it's just the world as we know it that's had T'Challa for a small period of time with Wakanda opening up his borders. So now Wakanda is having to deal with a situation where they open their borders and now they don't have their king who was setting everything in place to do it. And now you might have people who have different views, different aspects on what's going on. You know what I'm saying? His mom might not have agreed with everything, that the acting queen might agree with everything that T'Challa was doing. You know what I'm saying? She might have more agreed with what T'Chaka did. It's going to make an interesting dynamic in the storytelling, allow them to really pay tribute to who that character was and the movement he was pushing forward. And now you're going to have all these people clashing at the empty seat of power, not knowing how far he was going to push Wakanda forward and what he was seeing, blending the two mediums of the old and the new, because that's where he was at. He was taking the old traditional values, the new values, and bringing them together, you know what I'm saying, and making a new world. So it's going to be interesting what's going to happen when nobody is there to hold that bowl while that water is filling. That knows exactly what the plan was to happen. They can always recast the character later and bring him, you know what I'm saying, and bring him back. And then you have the impact of this world that I was creating, what happened when I wasn't here, and now I have to fix, you know what I'm saying, what was broken when that bowl got dropped. So that's how I'm looking at it. But I understand people's views on I think we're putting too much of our real world trauma of let me say, quote unquote, black trauma, you know what I'm saying, on this movie, you know what I'm saying, to start off with, because of what we want to see. And no, I want to see the story that, you know what I'm saying, Ryan Coogler wants to tell us. I want to see what's coming from this black man's mind on, you know what I'm saying, directing this film, writing this film. I want to see what the image he has that he wants to show us. And then I'll make my decision on if it, you know what I'm saying, it was good enough or not.
Yeah, because I do think there's a part, like I said before, I do think there's a part of us that, even though it has been a couple of years since his passing, we may think that we're over it or that we've had our closure and we've said our piece, but I think it's completely different when we actually go and see another Black Panther movie and he's not in it, and we get the opportunity to see not only the impact it's having on the characters, but probably the real life impact that it has on us, you know. And I do think that this is going to be a very interesting closure for us as the general public and viewers for this story. So I'm really fascinated.
He said, honestly, I love for you guys to look up YouTube E-Man reviews, which I'm pretty sure all of us have followed, because that's most of what the, you know what I'm saying, the recast has come from. You know what I'm saying? That's basically his movement. And no, nobody wants an immediate recast, but the problem is when you create a movement, the movement normally gets out of hand if you're not, you know what I'm saying, controlling it. And I can't think of a good you know what I'm saying, like a good comparison to put, because for some reason I keep wanting to go to the manga. Like you know what I'm saying, but the whole thing, we can go like the black, we can go like the black, we can go to keep it in the vein, we can go to the BLM movement, which was mostly peaceful, you know what I'm saying, and then you got people who can radicalize anything and make it negative. You know what I'm saying? I have no problem with the recast T'Challa movement. I believe the character should be recast, but one, is not on me to say when it's going to be done, and two, I don't care when it happens. It can happen 10 years from now. You know what I'm saying? But it could still happen. I don't need it to immediately happen, as long as the character does get recast sometime in the future. It could be 2032 before we see it. It's not going to bother me when it happens, but I do want to see what Ryan Coogler does, because this is going to show you the ability he has to be able to take this. This might be his crowning achievement. This might be the thing that makes us go, man, he is the greatest person to do film ever.
This might even be more of a nomination for best picture than I think even the first Black Panther possibly could have been.
I want to see if this genius, this man that we give him credit for, you know what I'm saying, I want to see what he does with this. And if he can create something beautiful, as I feel like he can, out of this, something emotional, impactful, that resonates with everybody, no matter what your race is, this is going to be a crowning achievement. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, this will be his, you know what I'm saying, best picture win.
Yeah, I think you might be onto something, Indy. I think you might be onto something there.
If the acting is half as good as it looks in the trailer, then I think at least a couple actors are going to get nominated from this.
Yeah, give me an Angela Bassett Supporting Actress Award or Best Actor Award already. I just seen her do one line in the trailer, and I'm like, yeah, give this woman her award already.
Right.
But yeah, great stuff. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts. You hear this coming out of Black Panther Wakanda. What do you think about the Namor stuff? What do you think about Feige's thoughts on the idea of not recasting T'Challa? Let your thoughts be known in the live chat.
Oh no.
Or the conversation box.
And here you got right here, he says, I think the Paul Walker way is a beautiful way to move off.
Interesting.
But for the longest, they said they weren't going to recast that part. And now they, you know what I'm saying, dropped a hint where the last movie they're thinking about bringing that character back.
Yeah, but at least we're right. But and that's what you just going. Yeah. That's what you were just talking about, though, right? The idea of like T'Challa probably will be recast again. You don't need it in 2023. You don't maybe not see if you need it in 2024, but eventually it might happen.
But their stance was, we're not. You know what I'm saying? That character's there, but we're not recasting that character. And now, you know what I'm saying, we saw from the end of the last movie. You know what I'm saying? That they're hinting at bringing this character back.
Yeah, definitely. Always things can certainly change, especially when given some time in between when those events have happened. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in the comment section box below. I cannot wait for this movie, guys. Let us know your levels of anticipation for it.
It was funny. I didn't realize my mic was muted when I did this, but like when Indy was mentioning movies that can get out of hand, I fake coughed and went, Snyder Cut.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They've turned into like MAGA restore the Snyder Cut fans. I mean, these guys have become as extreme as can get these days. But great stuff, guys. We are going to continue in the world of the MCU because, man, I'm telling you, there was just so much MCU news this week. This is probably the trippiest, though, that we're about to go down and certainly talk about because there's a part of me that wants this to be true. So just, you know, quotations here, spoiler alert, or at least maybe take this as a grain of salt until it's actually confirmed. But I feel like we're on this thing of, you know, people having unfortunately passed away. You know, the actor that wind up also portraying General Thunderbolt Ross in the MCU passed away as well a couple years ago. Not able to get the opportunity to see him in the upcoming Thunderbolts movie or even as Red Hulk at some particular point in time. But there's a rumor going around that they might actually recast Thunderbolt Ross, Indy. I thought that was pretty fascinating. We were just talking about the idea of should we recast certain characters? Thunderbolt Ross might, in fact, be recast. And believe it or not, it might be recast by good old Indiana Jones himself. Harrison Ford's name is back in the news as it seems as though maybe something went down at D23 that we weren't aware of, or an announcement that might have got postponed. but according to Screen Rant and a couple of other sites, Harrison Ford reportedly considered for Marvel's Thunderbolt cast, as there are rumors going around that he is going to be recast as Thunderbolt Ross. Let's go ahead and dive into this, shall we? It says Harrison Ford reportedly is in consideration to join the MCU's Thunderbolts, possibly as part of Thunderbolt Ross recast. There has long been an expectation that the MCU would eventually introduce a new team of villains. Marvel Studios finally confirmed that with the announcement of a Thunderbolts movie. The theorization about the team's debut has hovered over the MCU for years, thanks to the reemergence of William Hurt as General Ross in Phase 3. However, Hurt's passing earlier this year made it seem as though General Ross would not be seen again. They did go ahead and give us an official announcement of the Thunderbolts team at D23, and they did not have General Ross as part of the team. It says there are now rumors that Harrison Ford could join Thunderbolts cast as General Ross. Former Variety and Collider reporter Jeff Snyder, who we've talked about here already today, revealed the information on his podcast. According to Snyder, Ford is or was being considered by Marvel to take over Hurt's role as General Ross in Thunderbolts. He even said that his source indicated it was a done deal before D23, but that Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy stepped in to block the announcement to keep Ford's spotlight on Indiana Jones 5 instead of the MCU. Damn you, Kathleen Kennedy. Another reason for fans to hate you. Let's go ahead and dive into this. It says, this is what he said. He says, Marvel has denied what I'm about to tell you, and that's a matter of timing. He says, am I too early or am I too late? He says, so the deal is multiple sources have indicated that Harrison Ford either is or was the studio's top choice to star as Thunderbolt Ross himself, because William Hurt passed away. So that would be pretty crazy. That would be pretty crazy if you ask me. I don't think there's any other quotes from Jeff Snyder in here. So according to him, this is something that Marvel has denied. But like he said, is he too early with this news or too late? Is Harrison Ford a part of Thunderbolts, or was he at least considered? I find that rather interesting. And so, Indy, I'm going to go ahead and go to you first on this one. Kathleen Kennedy possibly stepped in and said, hey, look, you know, we want our focus for Harrison Ford to be solely on Indiana Jones 5. This announcement for him being in Thunderbolts would just completely overshadow that. And I do think that she is absolutely right. If this report is true, do you think this report is true, Indy? Do you think Harrison Ford is, or at one point was, considered to go ahead and be our new Thunderbolt Ross?
I think he was. I think he was considered. I don't know if he's the current, because to be totally honest with you, if that's the case, it's just a name. It's literally just a name. Anybody can play General Thunderbolt Ross. Anybody. You just need an old man with gray hair. Go pick one off the street.
Grumpy old man with gray hair.
Had to be a grumpy old man with gray hair. The only way you can get a bigger name than Harrison Ford probably to play this is if you got what's the other grumpy old man from Gran Turismo?
Clint Eastwood.
If you got Clint Eastwood to play him, but he's just too old. Like you can get anybody, any grumpy gray old man to play this role. Thunderbolt Ross, to most people in the MCU who aren't paying attention, like we watch it and we know, hey, that's General Ross. We know where he's going. We're watching everything he does, anything he says, you know, like we're paying attention to what he does. We know, ooh, Hulk, Red Hulk. Like we're thinking about that. Anybody else just went, oh, he was just a protagonist for a second that didn't want the Avengers to be a team, or he was just trying to catch the Hulk. Like they look at him as like a one-off villain type person that's not going to be there. Bessie Ross's father, you know what I'm saying, type of deal. We know the importance. Nobody else does. They can cast anybody in that role. It's not going to be important because half the time, if they decide to put him in the Thunderbolts, it's going to be a CGI red monster running around anyway.
that would be bananas.
That anybody can voice. You know what I'm saying? So like, you don't need, man. You, as far as I'm concerned, what's Kevin Nash doing? You know, like let Kevin Nash do it. You know, get one of them old timey wrestlers. What's Ric Flair doing right now? He could be Thunderbolt Ross. You know, it doesn't matter, and that's why I feel like nobody should be upset that this character is being recast. You know what I'm saying? Especially when the multiverse is going on, it's a different scenario. And you know what I'm saying? It was going. We done had two different Hulks. We done had, you know what I'm saying? Like, Rhodey's been two different characters.
He's a Skrull. That's why.
Yeah, it really doesn't matter. And I honestly believe that this Thunderbolt Ross is going to be a Skrull to start off with.
Oh, interesting. That would open up the doorway to another Skrull, because I think Don Cheadle is totally a Skrull already.
I think he is too.
And Thunderbolt Ross, especially if they bring him back in here as Harrison Ford, I definitely do think so. I am surprised. You know, you just brought up the idea. Like, I wonder if Red Hulk will end up being the villain for Thunderbolts. Like, I wonder if that's like the monster or the villain that they have to fight to take down. And maybe that's a reason why they need a Thunderbolt Ross in this movie in the first place. We didn't see him as part of like the team up, as far as the team photo that he was in. We saw Madam Hydra. So it does make me wonder what a Thunderbolts Ross addition to this movie would mean. But maybe he's the antagonist.
And him and Madam Hydra honestly do feel like they would be on opposing sides.
Yeah, they certainly might be. What do you think, in Stuart, when you hear this potential report here? Do you think he is, or at one point in time was considered for Thunderbolt Ross? Do you think there's something to this?
I think at the very least, Marvel's probably working on negotiating it with him at the moment. I don't know if it's going to be 100% sure, like we're going to get it, but yeah, I do think this is a huge possibility, and I think Harrison Ford's an interesting choice for the role. And kind of going back to what Indy was saying, he's such a small part of the MCU that I feel like if you were to recast him, not only would people not notice, I feel like a majority of, and I'm not talking about MCU fans, I'm talking about people who just go to the movies and they catch a Marvel movie when it's on, but they don't like keep up with it. I feel like most of them aren't even going to remember him as a character. So I think that replacing him or recasting him, I really don't think that's going to cause too much controversy or anything like that.
I think the idea of recasting him, especially as Harrison Ford, would make people be like, is Harrison Ford playing a new character in the MCU? They won't even know that he's replacing somebody, I feel like sometimes. But maybe he's too big for the role itself. Is that a thing?
I don't think he's too big for a role. I just don't think like they did enough to let General Ross like breathe, because I feel like the perfect way to bring in General Ross is not in a movie, is to slowly start rolling him back in on like MCU TV on Disney Plus. Like bring that character in and then jump him up to movies. One of the reasons why I feel like Armor Wars, as we're going to get into, is doing what it's doing right now. In Civil War, did they even call him General Ross?
I think so.
Or did like Ross. Senator Ross, or did like the conversation just start and they just started arguing? Because I don't even remember them bringing up his name like when they were doing it. It's just I remember his face and I remember them going back and forth. You know what I'm saying? Like, is he even important enough as Ross for people to remember? Because they have no inclination of him being Red Hulk, so he's easy to recast. I don't see the issue.
I don't remember them specifically saying Ross, but I do remember them specifically saying that he's a senator now, not a general.
Yeah.
I do want to say, my girlfriend Cindy's in the chat saying, she says, but it's Harrison Ford, you know? And you're right. Like it is Harrison Ford. Like the idea of having Harrison Ford in the MCU would be phenomenal. They've done an amazing job already of bringing in so many actors into the MCU, so many talented actors into the MCU. Like having Harrison Ford there would be like the icing on the cake for me personally. But, you know, if I can rebound though off of what somebody else also said in here, and Yusai, he says, if I can bring it up here, if this wants to work for me. He says, I feel like he's ironically too old for this. I say go for someone a tad bit younger in their late 50s. I don't know how old William Hurt was, but for those of you who don't know, Harrison Ford is 80 years old. He's 80 years old. I think if he's more than capable of pulling off an Indiana Jones movie, then I think he's more than capable of pulling off a General Ross, who is supposed to be like a crotchety old man anyway. And I do think that Harrison Ford can easily pull that off and make it work.
No, I'm gonna tell you right now, if we're going to bring back like people to play like that's been involved in other, shows previous to bring back, why not just bring back the greatest grumpy old man of all time? Just bring he's 78, bring back Sam Elliott and let him play General Ross.
Honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to that.
like let him do it. He's the perfect grumpy grade old man.
I wouldn't. Actually, I feel like he probably would actually almost be a better casting choice in regards to looking more like William Hurt. I feel like, so I would definitely be open to Sam Elliott. That would be a really great casting choice. But I just find this interesting. It does make me wonder if he was meant to be in this movie or not. If General Ross is going to turn into the Red Hulk at some point in time, if that's who the antagonist is for this particular movie, I would be fascinated. I think the idea of them wanting to recast and even bring General Ross in makes me think that he'll have a significant role, especially if you're bringing that in of Harrison Ford. But I don't know. It would be interesting to see if it would take people out of the movie or if it would just confuse people even more. But I am going to be looking forward to see if this actually turns out to be a confirmed announcement at some point in time or not. But, if some people really did want this to happen, I'm sure they can't be too pleased with Kathleen Kennedy right now. But I think she had every right in the world, though, to pump the brakes on that announcement, guys. We really want to focus on Indiana Jones. We've pushed this movie off for like 5 years. Can we get people excited for Indiana Jones 5 yet again, please? And let's hold off on that Thunderbolts announcement.
But question. Since it's a multiverse, if Sam Elliott reprises the role as General Ross, does that make Ang Lee's Hulk canon?
Yeah. I mean, okay, the first time I saw The Incredible Hulk, I actually thought it was meant to be a sequel to that movie.
Wait. Who was General Ross in those movies?
Sam Elliott was General Ross in Ang Lee's Hulk. So he would be reprising his role. Yeah, he'd be reprising his role as General Ross if he came back and played it again.
Why did I think it was somebody else? I thought it was really he was in the
Yes.
Okay. Maybe I'm thinking that's not the Eric Bana Hulk, right?
No.
Okay, I think that's what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of the Eric Bana Hulk.
No. This would have been the Ang Lee Hulk movie that made no sense.
The one from 2003.
Yeah, the one that was horrible.
He was
the one that had the coolest teaser, though. I did really love that teaser.
I'm getting my movies mixed up. I don't even remember him as General Ross.
Nobody remembers that movie.
The
Hulk movie started with the Incredible Hulk for us. That's where it started.
Oh yeah, maybe my mind just so completely erased that. Wow, I just remember like these mutant pit bulls like just biting Hulk in the crotch. That's all I remember. That was a moment, right? That was a scene in the movie where I'm flipping out. Okay, that's really the only thing I remember. And the lack of soundtrack and just the terrible. Yeah, we can go on and on forever about that movie. But anyway. Let us know your thoughts, guys, on this particular story. Do you think Harrison Ford was potentially going to be General Ross? Do you think he's cast? Do you think he's not? Let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below.
Real quick, I remembered what I was going to say. I do kind of disagree with Kathleen Kennedy and you on that. I think, if anything, just mentioning that Harrison Ford is also going to be in the MCU would just hype people up even more for Indiana Jones personally. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. To me, I think it would have benefited them is all.
Yeah, I was just gonna get that. I saw that and started laughing.
Harrison Ford to Sam Wilson. That's not how the shield works. I love it. I love it. All right, guys, from one MCU movie to the next, because I feel like we've just been interconnecting all these. We've name dropped Don Cheadle earlier today as a potential Skrull. Indy talked about the potential of his upcoming Armor Wars getting a little bit of an upgrade itself. Let's go ahead and dive into this one, as it seems as though when it comes to Don Cheadle in Armor Wars, they are changing course here from this Armor Wars series, as it is going officially from a series to now a movie. And if I could be honest with you, I actually really love the decision here, because I honestly feel like one of my biggest complaints that I've had recently has been the idea of them feeding us this line over the past 2 years of, hey, it's like we're making these movies but for TV, and we're gonna break them down into like a 6-hour movie for you guys, when in reality it's nowhere near that at all. So I do think that when you maybe even look at Secret Invasion, understand its importance in regards to it being an event series, a massive crossover, if you will, and that leading into Armor Wars, maybe it makes sense that you go from series into movie to maybe even bump up its importance. So let's go ahead and dive into this article here. This is from the Hollywood Reporter that went ahead and gave us this update that, yes, Marvel's Iron Wars, or Armor Wars, I should say, it says Don Cheadle series now being developed as a movie. Which I'm a big fan of this decision. It says the MCU has shaken up its Armor Wars project. The move essentially pushed back the title further down the development slate. It says sources say the studio was committed to in getting the story told the right way, and in that process realized that a feature was better suited for the project. Like all Marvel movies, it is intended for a theatrical release. Don Cheadle, who is reprising his longtime MCU role as Rhodes, aka War Machine, remains on board as the star. Yasir Lester, who was acting as head writer on this series, will remain as its featured scribe. So it looks as though they really loved what he wound up putting together. Marvel had been eyeing a 2023 start of production of the series, but the few people who were gearing up for that were notified Thursday of the change of direction. No directors have been officially attached, and it is unclear when the Armor Wars feature would pop up on Marvel's timeline of its phase of movies and series. So this may actually move its release date also. It does say that little is known about the log line for Armor Wars, although it was brought up earlier this month when Cheadle joined Marvel Studios, and producer, and Kevin Feige on stage, revealing a logo what was then touted to be a 6-episode event series. So yeah, guys, this is not the first time Marvel has pivoted the development of a title in this way. Hawkeye was originally conceived as a feature, but the executive team decided to turn the idea into a series. To date, Marvel has released all of its films in theaters, and I'm actually appreciate their viewpoint of taking Hawkeye into from movie feature to series. I actually think that benefited it. So there's a part of me that automatically thinks, when I think of this move also, I do think that Marvel knows what they're doing in here, and I do think that this will do nothing but benefit it. First, I just want to say shout out to Don Cheadle for now earning himself his own film for the MCU. I've always wanted this man to have his own MCU film. It is one of those things where get an opportunity to see somebody like Anthony Mackie get promoted to Captain America and him get his own feature film. I mean, man, it's an amazing feat, to certainly say the least. So Robert Downey Jr. had himself 3 films as Iron Man. Let's give Don Cheadle at least one as a War Machine here. And I'm excited for this. I do think this is a big step in the right direction here, and I think if it calls for it, why not go ahead and actually make this a movie? It's one of those things, like, I kind of wish that they did this with more of their projects, in regards to really taking a step back and seeing what would work as a film or a movie better, instead of just maybe coming up with the determination of this is going to be on Disney Plus sort of right away. Like when I look at something like Moon Knight, while I really enjoyed the series, or while I appreciated the series, there's a part of me that feels that that series almost might have done even better as a feature film itself, and I kind of wish it had been written that way. If it certainly wasn't. So I'm very hit or miss when it comes to Disney Plus series. I think it really depends on the execution of it. When it comes to their series, does it feel like filler episodes? Does it feel like it's a story that's being stretched more than it certainly needs to encompass 6 or 7 or however many episodes they're certainly going to give us? Or does it have a much more legitimate way of becoming successful by having a tighter script and knowing exactly the story that you want to tell, and putting a budget behind it to certainly make it work? Like other series, I think works fantastically well as series. She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, I think both of those work extremely well as series over features. But I do think that even when we look at something like Secret Invasion, after seeing that trailer, while I know it's a 6-part event series, a part of me is like, maybe that should have been a movie also. But I guess we'll have to see the proof in the pudding first before we make that decision. But I think for them to take a step back and realize that they've got something much bigger on their hands here with Armor Wars, if they're that in tune with knowing what to turn from series to movie or movie into series, like they said, we've seen that before when it happened to Hawkeye. I think they certainly know what they're doing here, and I think this is a great move for Don Cheadle and the MCU. So I'm really hyped for this decision, honestly. But let me throw this over to you, Stuart. What do you think about this shakeup here? Do you think this is a good move, and how do you feel about Don Cheadle getting his own movie?
So I think this kind of confirms what I've already really suspected about Marvel TV shows. I think they're an excuse to basically have all the Marvel movies that they want to release in theaters, but they can't because usually, as a studio, you can only do like up to 2 to 4 movies a year.
Right.
So I think like the TV shows are kind of like their way of being able to have just basically as many movies as they want, but being able to kind of disguise it as a TV show. And even though like technically, yes, if you were to add them all together, the length would be longer than your average Marvel movie. You also got to remember that behind the scenes with every Marvel movie, you hear actors and directors saying the same thing, which is, about half of what we actually shot ended up getting cut because, we had to make it into movie length. You hear about this with Doctor Strange. Apparently, there being a 4-hour version of it. Thor: Love and Thunder also having like a really long version of it. So what I think like the TV shows are kind of like Marvel's way of just being able to like, use that footage that normally just like kind of goes away at the end of the day and just use it to expand these stories into a TV show. And I think the only real exceptions to this are, WandaVision, She-Hulk, and to an extent, Miss Marvel as well. I think they do a good job of making it feel like a TV show as well. But all that being said, yeah, I think this is a smart move, or I think this is a move that I'm excited for on Marvel's part. I do think that it deserves to be a movie instead of a television series. Even though it would work either way, I do think that if you're going to make a movie like Armor Wars and we're going to get, I'm assuming from the title, people in suits fighting in a really big, like, climactic, epic battle, I think that's something I would rather see on the big screen than watch it on Disney Plus personally.
That's a good point that you make. Just with all the different armors, and give me Stiltman. I just need to see Stiltman on TV on the big screen at some point in time. I definitely want to see a lot of these. And was it Crimson Dynamo? Give me the Crimson Dynamo too. I want to see him on the big screen as well. This kind of feels like it's got that Iron Man 3 vibe to it when we got all those different armors from Iron Man and they come in to help Tony Stark in them out. I kind of want to see that again, but on a bigger scale. So yeah, that's something I would be completely open for. What about you, Indy? When you see this article here, how do you feel about it going from series to movie?
I'm all for it. I believe that the character of Rhodey deserves, to have his own movie. But with that being said, I feel like Secret Invasion deserves to be a movie more than just a television show, even over Armor Wars. And I feel like they got the right idea and what they need to be, but I think they picked the wrong show. Now, where Armor Wars, I feel like deserves to be a movie, I would have rather had that an extended like 12 to 15 episode show rather than a movie, and have Secret Invasion be the actual, movie, and give Nick Fury, who's been here since phase 1, his time to shine, compared to others. So that's just me though.
I can understand that for sure. Like Samuel L. Jackson as a lead in his own movie, yeah, I mean that's just box office right there for you automatically. So I could definitely understand that for sure.
If Secret Invasion ends up being another 6 episode, each episode being 40 minutes, then yeah, I'm definitely going to agree with you. But if they go with the more 9 episode approach like they did with She-Hulk and WandaVision, and each episode is like 40 to 50 minutes this time, then it's going to be like, okay, I feel like there's a reason they have this as a TV show. But I don't think, have they mentioned how many episodes it's going to be yet?
For Secret Invasion or Armor Wars?
For Secret Invasion.
I thought it was 6.
Yeah.
No?
Oh, yeah, if it's 6, then I'm with Indy. I kind of wish they put that to the big screen as well.
Secret Invasion episode count. I want to say it's 6. Yeah, 6 episodes.
Okay, yeah.
They don't say how long each episode is going to be, but yeah.
Run the dang on. Oh, I thought I was muted. I'm sorry.
Yelling at his Colts over there. And Usai did say, Don Cheadle with the deserved glow up. Honestly, he is a phenomenal actor, and the film will totally work better. This is going to be sick, and we get to go back to Tony's grounded corner of the MCU. And it does make me wonder if Robert Downey Jr. will pop up in this movie at all in some way or another. Flashback, hologram, AI. I'm kind of curious if they'll manage to get Robert Downey Jr. back for this.
What if, oh my God, hear me out with this. What if Robert Downey Jr. became his Jarvis?
Hey.
Yeah, well, what if it's like what if he like built something into the suit and noticed everything goes wrong and it randomly just took over? Just like took over the suit. Like, what are you doing, Rhodey? And you have to he has to dealing with this AI of the person that he just got over grieving. And now all of a sudden this AI is just bothering the heck out of him. And then, you know what I'm saying? It's almost like he got his friend back. And then let Rhodey hand that AI over to Riri.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Yeah, even Usai says Riri's AI for sure in regards to Tony Stark. And there's a part of me that really wants to see maybe even Don Cheadle as Rhodey finally don an Iron Man costume, like not even so much the War Machine costume, but like a legit Iron Man costume at some point in time. Because in the comics, he became Iron Man for a short period of time while Tony was dealing with his alcoholism and stuff. And so to be able to see Don Cheadle in that red and gold classic Iron Man armor, I think would be really cool throwback from the comic books for him also.
I hope it's the same bulky War Machine suit though, just because I don't know. I always like the War Machine suit a little bit more than Iron Man.
I mean, give me both.
So give me the color scheme of Iron Man, but like with
you want the shape? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, like I was thinking he can be in both armors at some point in time in the film. You know, him being in the War Machine armor at some point, maybe realizing a bunch of tech has been stolen, and now he's got to fall back on maybe the one piece of tech that's still remaining for all we know. Maybe there's an Iron Man suit that we don't know about hanging out somewhere that he decides to go ahead and put on himself. The possibilities sound really, really fun for me when it comes to this. But give me Stiltman and Crimson Dynamo, and I'll be a happy camper. So we'll see how it goes. But let us know your guys' thoughts in the comment section box below for Armor Wars getting an upgrade from series to movie. And we got one last topic, guys. One last topic before we get into your guys' live viewer questions. Oh, Usai, he says Stewart's ideal suit sounds like the classics 90 designs from the Iron Man TV show with the theme that slaps hella hard. Yeah, I used to love that cartoon series. That's what it reminded me of was those classic 90s Iron Man comics and animated series. Let's see here. We got one last topic for you guys that we're going to dive into before getting into your live viewer questions. And we will be diverting a little bit from the world of the MCU as we get a little bit more into our movie bag. One of the more successful trilogies over the past like 5 to 10 years was that of Matt Reeves' Planet of the Apes. From Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I'm trying to remember what all the titles for them certainly were. I'm getting a blank here. But what Matt Reeves was able to do with Andy Serkis, along with that cast and crew, was pretty impressive. It was a trilogy that I certainly... War of the Planet of the Apes, I think, was the last one as well. I thought they did a relatively great job in building out that world. And one of the questions that we had was, where do you certainly go from here? Do you completely restart this particular universe all over again? Do you pick up years down the line? What direction do you certainly go? Regardless of the direction, it seems as though we are getting ourselves a new Planet of the Apes. This past week, we honestly got the opportunity to get our first look at the movie. We also got the title revealed along with actual casting announcement for the upcoming Planet of the Apes movie. So let's go ahead and dive into this. Indy, I believe Stuart had to go, but he'll probably be back here shortly. So let's go ahead and talk a little Planet of the Apes here. This actually comes to us from Deadline.com. New Planet of the Apes movie taps The Witcher's Freya Allen to star. Sets new title and first look. I was actually really impressed with Freya Allen from The Witcher Season 2, or just from The Witcher in general. So to kind of see her being thrusted into this world should be rather interesting. This is an exclusive. It says, and I'll even go ahead and pull up the first look image for you guys. But it says 20th century's next installment in the Planet of the Apes franchise is a go, and it has found its new star. Sources tell Deadline that Freya Allen is set to star the newly named Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Deadline reported last month that Owen Teague was tapped as the lead ape in the pick, and insiders add that Peter McCone has also joined the cast. Production is set to start next month with the Maze Runner helm Wes Ball directing. And they did give us a first look at the film there. It does say that it says Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes starts an all new chapter in the Ape saga, picking up many years after the conclusion of the 2017's War for the Planet of the Apes. The screenplay is by Josh Friedman, Rick Jaffa, and Amanda Silver, and Patrick Eisen. My God, they've got 4 people writing the screenplay. Planet of the Apes is one of the most iconic, yada, yada, yada. All right. There you go. Looks like we got ourselves a brand new Planet of the Apes movie. Let me throw this over to you first, Indy. What's your relationship like with Planet of the Apes? And how do you like this announcement now that you've got the opportunity to not only see the first look, but also see that Freya Allen is set to star? Does that get you pumped?
Freya Allen makes me a little bit more interested. These movies are one-offs for me. Like I watch them and I'm entertained, but it's not something that I keep, going back to for like rewatchability.
I get you.
It's like one of them things. Oh, it's nothing else in the movies with Planet of the Apes. At least I know I can go see this and be entertained. You know what I'm saying? Type deal. Or if it comes on TBS one night, there's nothing else to watch. You know what I'm saying? You pop that on. I always found them like very generic movies, like really well done, but just generic. Like just paint by numbers style. You know what I'm saying? Type movie, but love the complication they tried to put, in the redos of the movies. Freya Allen being involved interests me to see it more, and that's just because I've liked what she's done in the Witcher series, so I feel like I'm obligated to go support her. You know what I'm saying? If I want to continue to see her in the Witcher series and different stuff like that. So yeah, but I'm not overly hyped about stuff like this. In a world where we have Marvel, DC, we got Star Trek, we got Star Wars, we have Godzilla movies, you know what I'm saying, coming in the future. Planet of the Apes is like behind Indiana Jones for me. So it's not something that like I'm running to the movie theater to go see.
I gotcha. Well, I'm glad that Freya is at least a part of this to at least pique your interest a little bit more. I kind of always viewed them a little bit more than just like one-offs, though. I always thought they were actually pretty impactful. And I don't know, I just loved the way Andy Serkis portrayed Caesar, and I guess there's a part of me that was really pleased with how Matt Reeves honestly handled all of that. Oh, my dog just came in. What's up, Gadget? She probably just finished. Gadget. She probably just finished eating. Stuart, let me throw this over to you, man. I don't know if you were here for the article itself, but it does seem as though we've got ourselves Freya Allen who has coming over from The Witcher, who's going to be in this particular movie. And they did provide us with the first look of this, stating that this is going to be taking place many years after the 2017's War of the Planet of the Apes. So, what are your thoughts as production is set to go ahead and start within the next month or so?
So let me first say that I'm pretty sure it's going to be a good movie, and I am definitely excited to see her in this because, like Indy was mentioning, I do really like her in The Witcher. That being said, I'm not really hyped for it, and I say that only because I think that the trilogy ended on such an awesome note, really bringing everything like full circle with the original movies. I mean, full circle in the sense of like you can see similar events to those movies playing out in that version of that universe. So there's to me, unless they were going to straight up remake the Planet of the Apes movies from the 70s, I don't really see a need to keep it going because you've already kind of like brought it full circle at this point. So I'm not really hyped for it, but I'm definitely going to watch it when it comes out, and I'm sure it's definitely going to be a good movie. And maybe even after I see it, I might be like, oh, what was I thinking? I should have been hyped for this. I don't know.
Yeah, you do make a good point in the sense that with this taking place years after, are you the idea of like, remaking Planet of the Apes in general, like the original film? Because by at that point, it is technically a kingdom, right? I mean, the planet, the apes have taken over the planet at that particular point in time, in the very first Planet of the Apes movie, the original. No, Blossom Gadget does not bite, unless she's unless you give her a reason to. But no, I've never seen her bite anybody before. She's like the most non-lethal dog. She does got a great bark to her, though. I will tell you that much. Yeah, going back into the Planet of the Apes stuff here, I get the hesitancy of maybe not being super pumped for it, but I am open to it because I love the idea of them not starting over from the beginning of Caesar's life. This feels very much like one. I would be curious if Caesar's even still around. If Caesar is, I do wonder if that means Andy Serkis would come back to reprise his role. If not, I kind of dig the idea of maybe this taking place years afterwards, maybe separate from Caesar's time period. Because yeah, there's a part of me that wonders, like, would this technically be like a remake of the Planet of the Apes? Maybe they want to kind of erase the Mark Wahlberg Planet of the Apes movie as their remake and use Kingdom as a proper remake, not only to the original, but also considering that they kind of gave us this prequel trilogy of Caesar's life. This could possibly be a great sort of lead in also. So I would be open to that, to kind of see what this world has turned into. And when it comes to Freya Allen, I am pumped to see her in this. I've been really impressed with her work on The Witcher. And it does make me beg the question, is she going to be human in this movie? Is she like the last remnants of any human civilization or society out there, or is she going to be caked up in prosthetics and makeup? I would be curious to see if is she gonna be an ape in this movie? Is she doing voice acting work, motion capture work for one of the apes? They haven't really announced that or not, but who knows? Maybe if this is a proper remake of the classic Planet of the Apes, maybe she's an astronaut. Maybe she's one of the astronauts that comes and lands back on Earth. If I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to remember if in the first Planet of the Apes movie that we got with James Franco, if they even hinted or highlighted the idea of like a spaceship going into space. Did they?
They did, yeah. That was actually kind of a cool detail. It was like a news thing that was going on in the TV in the background, but they do mention like a shuttle like leaving, and I think they mention the main character from Planet of the Apes, but they don't mention the other three astronauts.
The other astronauts. So I think it would be a really great world building off of this. If they wanted to do it, that would definitely intrigue me a lot more. And just based off of the level of storytelling I think we got from the first trilogy, even though I don't expect Matt Reeves to certainly be back, it is something I would be open to definitely checking out. So the fact that we're getting more Planet of the Apes is fine by me. But yeah, guys, I'm looking forward to it. I'm not gonna get too hyped. Let me see something first. But first look, great first impression, I think.
And if they end up screwing it up, all I can say is, damn them all to hell.
Great callback. Indy's either frozen or he's just watching football right now. One of the two.
I'm listening. Like, and I'm scrolling through the comments. I was looking up to see if there's like any comments I was missing.
But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts. What's your relationship like with Planet of the Apes? Are you eager for them to dive back into this particular world? Are you eager to see what Freya Allen is certainly going to do in this movie? Let your thoughts be known in the live chat or comment section box below. Caesar's baby mama, maybe? Interesting. That would be interesting because I don't think she Caesar's baby mama. I'm wondering if maybe he's picked up with somebody else, right? Because didn't he have a wife at one point in time in the first trilogy?
Oh, God, I gotta watch these movies.
She died, didn't she? I thought she passed away or something like that. But hey, don't mean he can't find another female ape, to procreate with. So we'll see. We'll see what we get.
Never said she was gonna be a human. Just said
that's what I'm saying. I wonder. That's what I'm saying. I wonder if she's gonna be human or if she's actually gonna end up being an ape in here. Blossom says, never saw the film, but sounds cool. Do yourselves a favor. Check out Matt Reeves's Planet of the Apes. I think it was Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I remember War was the last one. I can't remember what the middle one was, but James Franco was in the first one. I thought he did a fantastic job, honestly.
The Planet of the Apes movies are like that rare trilogy where each movie gets better and better, because the first one I thought was just, good for what it was. But like, it wasn't until the second one where I'm like, oh my God, these movies are amazing. Like the second and third one were both like fantastic.
Yeah, I thought they did some pretty great work with those movies, man. It makes me actually care for some apes. Like, damn, I can't believe it. But yeah, go ahead and check it out. All right, guys. With that out of the way, that will wrap up all of our main topics today, guys. So yay to us, guys. We did it. Blossom says that dang you all to know where is that where Madagascar got that?
It's been a while since I've seen Madagascar. But
did they say that in that movie?
Probably. That very much sounds like a Madagascar line. But yeah, they got it from the from the first Planet of the Apes movie, the original.
The original one.
Yeah,
it was a classic. All right, guys. And Stuart, I think you know what time it is.
It is time for live. Oh wait, sorry, you got something?
Yeah. I gotta tap out.
Oh, you gotta tap out? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No problem, man. I know I saw your chat, but thank you so much. It was so good seeing you here, man.
I wanted to hear this live right quick though before I left.
It is time for live viewer questions.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we will go ahead and check out some of the questions you guys have left. Thank you, Indy. Appreciate you coming through today, man. Yusai says, yo, these discussions have been great. I love seeing you three together. Yeah, me too, man. We don't get the opportunity to do so very often just because of work schedules and real life circumstances, unfortunately. But anytime Indy's on board, man, I always think, even me and you, Stuart, I think we hold down the fort relatively well, but it's always great to get another perspective and Indy's point of view on these things also.
For sure. And YouTube, you can have more of this if you just pay us, YouTube.
Yeah, we're so close, man. We're like we already got the subscriber count. We ain't got no copyright strikes. I think the only thing we're missing is just viewership hours. We got to get to like 4,000 hours watched. And I think right now we're at like 3,250, if I'm not mistaken. So we're getting closer. We're getting closer.
We're getting there.
Yeah,
but if YouTube just wants to, give us the money up front, we can all quit our jobs and then we can all have like good production, or there won't be any missed deadlines or anything like that. YouTube just has to pay us a lot of money so we can do that.
Yeah, man. Give us some money, give us some sponsorships. We'll see. Let's go ahead and go over to our YouTube channel. I'm gonna click on this community tab here. We're going to go down to our live viewer questions post, and we got 26 today. We may not get to all of them today, but if anything, myself, Indy, or Stuart will probably maybe do a live viewer questions segment for you guys later on this week, but we'll certainly get to as many as we can today. So I'm going to go to newest first. I'm sure we got a bunch, Stuart. I'm telling you right now, I know we got a bunch of Power Ranger questions. So I'll try and sprinkle in some MCU stuff from time to time, but we definitely got a bunch of questions for Power Rangers. Ram Jam Hope you're all doing well. A couple of questions. So, with Dino Fury wrapping up, what was your favorite moment from the second half of Dino Fury? Mine was the big reveal and the cliffhanger at the end. What do you think, Stuart? You have a big moment without
cover your ears
cover
for
my
this
ears.
one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wave your hands like this when you're done.
All right. My favorite moment is it was them using the Morphin Masters as a cheat code for any time there's a continuity error in Power Rangers. The fact that they actually went through all the like unexplained events from the past few seasons and said it was the Morphin Masters all along. That to me is one of the most beautiful things I think I've ever seen in Power Rangers, and only like Power Rangers and DC and Marvel can get away with stuff like that.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah.
All right, awesome.
And you can answer the second part because I haven't watched Don Brothers.
Yeah, so he says, what do you think of the trademark for the next Super Sentai series after Don Brothers being called Osama Sentai King Onger? I was trying to find the actual trademark announcement to go ahead and pull up here, but I'm not finding it any. Oh, is that what it is?
Well, I
Yeah,
saw like a meme about it where someone took the Gold Ranger from Zeo and just made different colored outfits with that costume specifically. And I assume if you understand like more Super Sentai or just the name in general, like I guess that pun makes sense, but I didn't get it.
Yeah, I didn't get it either. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I haven't really been keeping up too much with it. But here, this is the trademark announcement. I'm loading it right now. I actually reached out to my brother. Oh yeah, Osama Sentai King Oger. I reached out to my brother Corey, who lives in Japan, to talk to him a little bit about this. He says, well, Osama means king. He says the O in an Oger is probably meant to be the same O in Osama. So I was like, that's kind of weird. I was like, so that's so many kings. I was like, does that mean King Sentai King Oger? I don't really even know. But he says Osama means king. So yeah, King
Oh, all
Squad,
right.
King Sentai. I don't know. I always feel like they give us. It's just a lot of kings. I wonder if this is the royal family that we're dealing with. Is this like a royal family of a Sentai team? What do you think?
Get a bunch of historic kings and emperors from history, take them out of time, and put them in the present to work together.
Yo, that would be legit. That'd be legit.
Have the one leader be someone who's never actually been a king before.
I haven't really had the opportunity to listen to like the real Matt Hunt over on Twitter recently. I've been kind of disconnected with Super Sentai information over the past couple of months. So I'm not exactly sure what even somebody like Matt Hunt or anybody else closer to the Super Sentai information, how they're translating this. But yeah, according to my brother, Osama means king at least. So King Sentai Onger. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what it comes out to, but we'll keep you posted. Jessica Friedman, what do you think of the biggest twist in Dino Fury season 2? And do you think we'll see Lex Luthor show up on Superman and Lois? You know, I gotta think that Lex Luthor pops up some point, but whether or not he's gonna be John Cryer, that I certainly don't know. Especially now that we know that Superman and Lois is on a completely different Earth. It definitely makes me think that we're not gonna get John Cryer back. But any chance you see that happening, Stuart, or you think if he does pop up, it'll be a different Lex Luthor like we have in Titans already?
I think they're going to wait until Titan season 4 ends and then decide whether or not they want to use that Lex Luthor or John Cryer's Lex Luthor. But yeah, I do think we're going to get Lex Luthor on Superman and Lois eventually. I just think, kind of like with Supergirl, they're going to take their time with it. I think they got plenty of non-Lex Luthor related stories to tell. And I think they want to kind of wait before relying on the fan service villains that they know are going to be bringing in more viewerships. I think they want to wait until they ran out of original villain ideas, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I think I get you. I think I get you. Let's see here. Who else we got? What's up, fellas? From Michael Rhymes. He says, after Black Panther Wakanda Forever, what other MCU or even Disney Plus series would you like to see Ryan Coogler directing? Would you like or not like if Black Panther continues as a movie franchise after Wakanda Forever? Or should it just retire? I know some fans would feel it would be a disservice to Chadwick Boseman if Black Panther were to keep going on, even though we'll be getting brand new person as Black Panther. No, I still want to see the Black Panther franchise continue, especially if somebody else is going to be picking up the mantle. I think we can at least get a trilogy out of this particular franchise for sure, if not more going forward. But what other MCU movie would I like to see Ryan Coogler direct? I can't remember if I brought this up before or not. I would love to see him do Secret Wars. I think if he's been able to do an amazing job with Wakanda Forever and really show, I mean, look, he's already shown and proven his worth, if you ask me, just outside of his work in the MCU stuff. So I do think that he can juggle a much bigger cast and do something like Secret Wars. So that would be something I would personally would like to see him tackle.
Man, I got a bunch of answers for this one, actually. I think Secret Wars is a really good one, but I also would be down for him doing an X-Men movie because, when it comes down to it, at the very core, X-Men.
Or anybody else?
Oh my God, Storm. Well, just like X-Men altogether, like if he was doing like the X-Men movie in the MCU. And I think just because, when it comes down to it, X-Men is a movie or is a comic book franchise about social issues. And I think Ryan Coogler would be perfect to tackle those.
I love that. I think an X-Men movie I actually would even appreciate that more than my answer. I think that's a great one. Marcelino.
We might need a refresh before reading this one because we got a comment from Marcelino asking us to refresh the page. And so I assume he edited the question.
Okay, let me I did, but let me just try and do this again. Okay, I'm hoping we got this right now.
Yeah, it looks like.
Okay. Where'd your question go, Marcelino? Oh, there we go. Wait, is that it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do any of you plan on seeing the movie Bros? What's that, Stuart?
Oh, actually, funny you ask. I technically watched like half the movie yesterday because I was serving that movie. But it's basically a romantic comedy about a gay couple in New York City. And of course, because I live in San Francisco, it was our biggest movie that we've had in a while. And oh my gosh, that was not a fun. The movie itself I actually kind of liked, but it was not a fun movie to work because we were a bit understaffed and everyone kept ordering drinks like every my God, every 5 minutes. So it was not a fun movie to work, but from what I've seen of it, I liked what I saw so far. I do want to like eventually watch it all the way through.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of it before, but thank you for putting it on my radar, Marcelino. He also says, you guys have constantly praised shows like The Boys, South Park, Family Guy for using controversial topics and putting them in a joking matter. However, what are some jokes that you think should not be joked about at all and are too offensive to make light of? And what would it take for you to abandon these shows because jokes no longer become funny, but have become rude and offensive? Some people will make an argument that no controversial topic should be excluded from being used in a joking manner and that people can just turn off the TV if they find it too offensive. I will say one thing that will immediately make me turn off the TV and not watch it anymore. And I've already done this and I've taken my stance on it before. A blackface, I know some people will probably try and use it as comedy or in a funny manner, and it's just not funny at all to me. I definitely find that just super rude and offensive, and just continuing an unfortunate just highlight of what's the word I'm looking for? Just a very evil and dark representation of a culture, and trying to make light of it. And when people try and make light of something like that, it just continues to amplify and encourage others to kind of do it. I don't think there's much that I find super offensive, just because I feel like I can take a good joke, I don't take things too seriously in that sense. But for me, blackface is probably up there in regards to something that I just, there's no need for it. There's no need for it.
Now I got a question actually, but first I'm going to give kind of my answer, which is that it really depends on how the joke is presented. If it's like I think the best way to describe it, and I hope I don't get demonetized for like basically saying this, but like for an example, a rape joke. If we're attacking the victim of rape, then I think that goes too far, and I just don't find it funny. If we're attacking rapists in the joke, we're making jokes about it, but we're attacking, the victimizers and not the victim, that's when I think you can get away with it. And I don't think it's offensive, pretty much. So let me ask you this, though, with, that idea. That's why I've always justified Tropic Thunder and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, because when you have blackface in that, it's not used as, oh, how funny is that he's doing blackface? It's used as, this guy's an asshole, he's doing blackface. How funny is it that guy's an asshole? They're making fun of the dude doing it. They're not making fun of it as a whole. So what do you think of that? Do you personally still like find it offensive?
I definitely did cringe. I mean, like, it was like, I get the preference of why they were doing it. I've only seen that movie one time in my life, honestly. I haven't really revisited it yet. I don't necessarily know if it's because of Robert Downey Jr.'s blackface. Like, I will say I wasn't perfectly at ease with it. I will just say that. Like, I get it. I'm sure I probably chuckled at it, like, oh, Robert Downey Jr. is such an idiot. Like, they're so stupid, But like, at the same time, I would be lying if I said it didn't make me at least a little bit uneasy. Like, how long are we going on with this joke for? You know what I'm saying? Like, is this going to be the entire movie or not? So yeah, I would be lying if I said it didn't affect me, because it definitely made me feel at least some type of way, just to kind of get through the movie.
Yeah.
Dino Knights, fight for your rights. My excitement for Cosmic Fury. How excited are you that not only is David Yost officially returning for Power Rangers for Cosmic Fury, but also the king of hip hop keto himself, Walter Jones, and with the speculation of Steve Cardenas also returning as Rocky. The announcements of Cosmic Fury being 10 episodes, but maybe longer runtime and another secret project that could also be happening involving David and Walter. Maybe we could get a small tribute to Trini. Would be kind of awkward because Rocky never met Trini. I don't know if that would make it awkward at all. Mm-hmm. Would you like to see David and Walter morph again in Power Rangers with a brand new morph sequence? Yeah, I would absolutely love that. He says, the elephant in the room with Cosmic Fury adapting just the Zord footage of Q Ranger. I think this is a really excellent choice, but we know some fans will be upset that Q Ranger isn't going to be fully adapted, though I personally love this idea. Why adapt another Sentai season in such limited episodes? Cosmic Fury itself possibly being released globally on Netflix means no longer giving us potential international spoilers. But yeah, I'm excited for David Yost and Walter Jones returning. Are you, Stuart?
Dude, Walter Jones is a better actor than I've ever given him credit for, because the way he answered that question at Power Morphicon, it almost looked like he was trying to find a way to like break really disappointing news that he knew was going to piss people off. It did not seem like he was hiding something. It sounded like he was being very straightforward. So holy crap, kudos to Walter Jones for keeping that a secret when someone asked him about it.
Oh, they did? How did he respond? Do you remember?
He just responded with kind of a pause, but it was that type of pause that really feels like, how do I break it to you? Kind of a thing. It didn't feel like a pause of, oh crap, how do I hide this? It felt like a, how do I break it to you kind of pause. So that's why I was so thrown off when I saw Walter Jones in that little teaser. I'm like, no way. So I'm excited, of course.
They've all gone to the school of line for Andrew Garfield.
Yeah, so. They must have learned from, Marvel actors. they went to Kevin Feige and they're like, how do you do it? How do you get people to not tell anything? Kevin Feige, he just goes, oh yeah, look at your forehead. You see a red dot there.
He says, "Let me introduce you to my friend Andrew Garfield. He'll show you all the ropes." Here you go. We got Adrian Perez. He says, "Hey everyone, hope you're all doing well. It's 9 a.m. on Saturday here in Sydney as I write this. What did you think of Hasbro's PulseCon and the official announcement of David and Walter returning for Cosmic Fury? If you could predict or speculate, how would you think Zach and Billy find their way to the Cosmic Fury Rangers, especially with the show itself taking place in outer space? I have not yet checked out Dino Fury Part 2, so I'm not quite sure how Dino Fury itself ends and transitions to Cosmic Fury. So I haven't watched it myself either, Adrian, so I'm just as in the out of the loop as you are. But as far as like speculating and predicting, Zach and Billy, well, look, last time we saw Billy, he was going off to Aquitar to go and make Aquatarian babies. It would be interesting to see him pop back up. I would assume he's probably still an Aquitar. Maybe he's the one that reaches out to the Rangers. Zach, on the other hand, I put this out in speculation already over on Twitter. And I'm going to stand by this stance here. And I'm going to be completely cool if I'm wrong on this. But I'm really hoping that Simon Bennett and the writers include Zach as an Omega Ranger.
Yeah.
And I say that because the Omega Rangers are clearly in space. Clearly, that peace conference wasn't a peace conference after all, at least in the comic books. And we end up seeing Jason, Trini, and Zach actually go into space and form a brand new team of Rangers in the name of Omega Rangers. And so there's a part of me that, like, if Zach is in space for any reason whatsoever, there's a part of me that thinks that maybe that's what it is, because he's become an Omega Ranger. And we've already seen Simon Bennett and the crew not shy away from firsts when it comes to Power Rangers television series. And while I don't believe we've had anything from the comic books adapted into the television series.
The Morphin Masters.
They're not from MMPR season 1.
I mean, they were so offhandedly referenced in MMPR in like a filler episode. So it's just
that's true, but like the new design very much comes from. You're right. I mean, I definitely can see hints of Boom Studios in the redesign of the Morphing Master. So I'm not going to say it's out of the realm of possibility. If I had to make a prediction, I would say Zach would pop up as an Omega Ranger. Whether or not we see him in the costume, I hope so. I feel like I've seen them already do promotional artwork and posters of like an actual suit. Whoever the props company was that designed the helmet for the Omega Rangers, I've seen somebody in an Omega Ranger costume before. So it would be pretty cool if that's the key as to how Billy's in space in the first place. So that's the route that I'm going to go, is that they're actually going to make a bold move and include a Boom Studios storyline in regards to actually making it canon in Power Rangers. But what about you? Do you have any predictions, or you like that prediction, or you got one of your own?
Oh, I'm 100% on board with your theory. I think, he's in space. Maybe Rocky and Jason decide to, because there's rumors that Steve Cardenas is coming back too. And if that's the case, I think it's easy to say that, like, Jason wanted to go back to Earth, and I figured, well, why not? I've always wanted to travel. So I think it'd be really easy if that's the explanation they go with them being in space, and it'd be a great way to, have that MMPR reunion and give the comic book fans a little bit of something too.
Yeah, I'm really fascinated to see what this is gonna turn out to be. With Walter and David Yost coming back, I am interested to see, will they be included in Cosmic Fury? Is this just something separate in regards to, David Yost saying, hey, we're returning for something special for the 30th anniversary. We're really working on something special for you guys. Whether that's separate or they're combined in any way, that I still certainly don't know. But hopefully we'll get ourselves some clarification here within the next couple of months. But I'm excited, man. I'm really eager for it. Adam Perea, he says, for the Hasbro reboot, if we get a series after the movie, do you think it will be multiple series at once, or after the first one that could possibly take place after the movie? And do you think that if the series gets negative reception by critics, Netflix would cancel future series with new cast members? I remember one show called Cowboy and Pony was canceled after one season, even though it did follow a lot of stuff from its anime source material. So it is a part of me that thinks that Netflix will give Hasbro the opportunity to really flesh out their world. And I think we saw that. Oh, you okay? You didn't drop dead on me, did you? You all right?
No, I just accidentally kicked my keyboard.
We've seen like Mark Miller's world. He did that one series that unfortunately bombed. It got canceled after season 1, but they had already purchased the rights to so many other projects that they still went along and released the animated series that they had. That was still, I think it was like Super Crooks or something like that. That was still part of the bigger universe for Mark Miller's world. And so I felt like they probably were going to give Mark Miller the opportunity to let that kind of shine still. So I do think that even if the first season isn't successful, I do think that they have spent money towards it already and allowing them to produce stuff that they would still give them the opportunity to showcase other things within that world. But that could just be that's my own particular speculation. But do you also think that there would be multiple series at once or after the first one that could possibly take place after the movie? Like, how do you think they'll balance that out?
I think they're going to do it one at a time. I don't think they're going to try to give us two. I mean, the fact alone that they don't want to announce the movie and Cosmic Fury at the same time kind of shows that they're being careful not to oversaturate the product before it's gained, traction. You know what I mean? So I think, they're going to hold off on that for a little bit. But I think at the very least, it's just going to be one at a time. The movie once, and if that does good, then they're going to move on to the TV show. If that does good, spinoffs.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. I'm under the same impression. Movie, one series, and then if that does well, then continue with some spinoffs. And maybe we get 2-3 seasons with this particular cast, and then they get themselves another movie. And I feel like we've been predicting that for a while here. The idea of the movie cast actually being the same as the TV cast, and I think they did kind of confirm that for us, or at least one of the things that Jinsaku wound up releasing a couple of weeks ago was the idea that might in fact be the key. Carlo Bernardo, by the time you read this, you've already known about Cosmic Fury being 10 episodes and being released at the same time worldwide next year. With the show itself being 10 minutes, would you like it to be the same 22 minutes or 30 to 40 minutes or even an hour? I feel like being the same 22 minutes is too little for storytelling. And we even have 2 of the original MMPR of Zach and Billy. So I feel 40 minutes or an hour and 10 episodes would be outstanding. A lot of time to breathe. So, Stuart, I literally asked Simon Bennett directly on Twitter the other day, like, hey, I hope Simon Bennett can clarify this for me, because he mentioned 10 episodes in the interview that he did with Andre at that Hasbro PulseCon. And when I heard 10 episodes, at first I thought, oh, maybe that's a part 1. And then we would get the second half. But no, Simon Bennett explained it's a 10 episode series. And I think just based off of the casting sides, the idea of the time period that they were going to be filming, even though a lot of that stuff has been pushed further down the line, I think we already knew that we were going to have a shorter season. Hell, I think we were estimating at least 22 episodes, but we're certainly getting less than that. But 10 episodes, I feel like, fits the Netflix formula for a lot of the television shows, especially if you look at Cobra Kai. There is a part of me, Stuart, that thinks Cobra Kai might actually end up being the formula for this series. And I say that because those episodes come in at about 35, 37 minutes long. And I think that might be a good amount of time. I don't know if we're going to get a full 40 or 45-minute episodes, but I do think anywhere between 30 to 35, 37 minutes, I think is a good chunk of time for 10 episodes. But let me ask you, this is clearly a new way that they're doing the Power Ranger formula now that we're on Netflix. I think it's safe to assume we expected some changes here. What do you think we're going to get? How long are these episodes are going to get?
I think to quote the first Clerks movie, I think we're getting 37.
What? That's a quote?
37 minutes each episode. No, 37 is it refers to something very different that I can't repeat here. But that's genuinely like what the number I think we're going to get for the episodes.
What a great quote, though. Like, what a great fallback. I'm glad that lined up perfectly with this question.
Yeah. But because I think like if you average out all the Cobra Kai episodes, with some of them being like a little over 30 minutes, some of them being like a little over 40 minutes, I think kind of 37 is like that perfect middle number.
Yeah, so I think that might be where we're going here. And it's just interesting because, Simon Bennett has been open about explaining to people, or at least talking to people about how many episodes that there's certainly going to be. But when people ask him about what's the length of the episodes, he's just not responding like at all. So,
Yeah.
I do think that there is something special certainly going on here. I do think that we should treat this Netflix series unlike anything else that we've had from Power Rangers, because it definitely feels like they're thinking not only outside the box, but they're definitely doing things in a new and hopefully improved way. So, I don't think people should worry so much about it. I think the idea of it being 10 episodes, to me, it tells me that there's a focus. It knows the story that it wants to tell. It's not going to bore you with filler. We've got a cast coming back that we're all familiar with, that we're going to get the opportunity to see grow as well. Potentially some cameos from other members that we've known extremely well from the past. Maybe they'll give us a quick, brief update as to what they're certainly been up to. But I do think 10 episodes is a really great number, because we were literally sitting here before, Stuart, right, saying like for Jonathan Entwistle stuff, what would be a really great number? And I think we went anywhere between 13 to 15 episodes, or maybe you said 10 to 15 episodes. I do think that that's a really great number to fall back on. And even if you come at it with the 35 minutes, I think that's substantially greater than the 22 something minutes that we get from Power Rangers now in the form that it's certainly being told. So I don't think it's anything for us to worry about.
Yeah.
Let's see here. What else we got? Abase. You guys still remember when Power Rangers Megaforce and Super Megaforce was the current series, and how it was a huge letdown after 2 years of anticipation? And then when we eventually got to the so-called legendary battle, it was a huge fail. While it was really cool seeing 10 old Rangers cameo, they really didn't do anything like fight in civilian mode or in their Ranger suits. Super Megaforce itself was a copy and paste of the series Gokaiger, where they kept burning through Sentai footage and no explanation for literally anything, even giving us random Ranger transformations by Rangers that never existed. The cherry on top was they kept mispronouncing and changing the names of the Blitz Rangers, which was Die Rangers. Long story short, Megaforce was a huge WTF. So very happy that Dino Fury has really relaunched and made a huge stamp on the franchise, thanks to the leadership of Simon Bennett and Hasbro. Yeah, it's amazing what good leadership will certainly do.
There was a Q&A that I was watching online where it was a kid who was probably like 10 or 11 years old, and he asked the main actor, Andrew Gray, I think that's his name. He's like, so why is it that during the Sentai battle during the big battle at the end, we see a bunch of Sentai suits? That makes no sense to me. And his response was, oh, I asked the producer the same question, and they said it was because people between 12 and under wouldn't care.
I mean, he's not wrong, but to consider the fact that this kid clearly cared,
yeah, exactly.
How wrong were they, huh? Wow.
Yep.
Incredible stuff. Nicole, what's up, Nicole? It's always good to see you. Hope you're doing well and have an amazing weekend. With the speculation of the actress Charlie perhaps going to play Trini's daughter, Yen, for Cosmic Fury, would you like to see if maybe Yen herself already knew her mom was the original Yellow Ranger since she was little? If we do actually get an episode or the exciting project that David Yost and Walter Jones are possibly doing since their announcement at Hasbro PulseCon, perhaps she kept Trini's original Power Coin as a remembrance of her if Trini did pass away in the Power Ranger TV universe. You could see old footage from MMPR of when she, Zach, and Jason's powers were transferred over to Adam, Rocky, and Aisha, basically copying their powers. This would explain why Trini still had her Power Coin and wasn't damaged, and would be a nice surprise if it still worked and Yen morphed into MMPR Yellow. If Zach and Billy were to be on the battlefield and they needed assistance. Jin was referencing the fact that Yen might actually get like a master morpher. Or some sort of ability where she can change into multiple Rangers. So she would at least be able to change into MMPR characters, or at least Yellow if she certainly wanted to. But I am fascinated by this. Would you like to see if maybe Yen herself already knew her mom was a Yellow Ranger? How do you think that story might unfold?
I wouldn't want to see it fully, because I think like the idea of a legacy or a character who's like, the child of a legacy character, I feel like that's such a cool idea on its own that I would rather see it get expanded somewhere else. So I'd rather keep her story mostly vague, like to an extent, like introduce who she is, introduce that she's the daughter of the original Yellow Ranger, but that's kind of it. I think if we want to explore more, we should do that through either spin-offs or comic books.
Yeah, I totally agree. And if anything, for those of you who don't know, this is in fact Charlie Kirsch. Nobody has confirmed this yet, if I'm not mistaken, but we did do some sleuthing of our own, if you will, along with Jinsaku, I believe even on the Illuminati cast this past Saturday. I believe that they even referenced Charlie Kirsch, or at least the idea that maybe Trini's daughter has been cast. But again, nobody has come out and confirmed this. But if you want to go ahead and see how we are assuming this, or how we're trying to figure this all out, there is a video currently up on our YouTube page. I think it's got like 500 views already, Stuart, if I'm not mistaken. I literally just dropped this. This was actually a highlight video. Like, we literally just cut out a segment of our Hasbro PulseCon recap video, and I went ahead and made this individual video for the Yen character here. So if you want to go ahead and check it out, it is currently up on our YouTube page. But that is, in fact, Charlie Kirsch, who, according to her IG, is currently in New Zealand. She is filming something, and she definitely has a martial arts background. So, there's a part of me that I kind of want her to know her mother's legacy, or maybe have a power coin but not know exactly what it fully does. Having some questions and some uncertainty and mystery surrounding her mom. And then maybe that's where the legendary Rangers, or the OG Rangers, kind of come into play to fill her in on what her mom's backstory was, and to kind of see what inheritance when it comes to power that Yen certainly might have. Whether or not like this team of OG Rangers will team up with our Cosmic Fury Rangers and introduce Yen in the series also, that I certainly don't know. But that's why I said I hope that we have some further confirmation and information as to regards to, is there a 30th anniversary special, or is there only a 30th anniversary season, or are we getting both? So hopefully we get some clarification there, but I do hope that this Yen storyline does come to fruition at some point in time. All right, man. I think we're over 3 hours here, Stuart. So I think we might actually end with that last question. But if anything, guys, there's quite a few more questions that we're probably going to be getting into. So I probably will be doing another video for you guys later on this week. Stuart, do you have any time this weekend that we can do these questions together by any chance?
I'll be free all day tomorrow if that works for you.
Okay, yeah, maybe we can get together tomorrow after I get off work. We can sit down and do a video together and do these tackle these questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do that. So Stuart and I will definitely be finishing off these live viewer questions for you guys later on this week. But thank you very much, guys, for all of your questions and participation each and every week. It definitely does go a long way, guys. All right, and I think that's it. I think that's all we're going to be getting today. But any last comments, Stuart, in regards to topics or anything that we've seen, things that you're looking forward to?
No, I mean, I guess I should say that I'm really looking forward to Wakanda Forever when that comes out. Just everything we've been talking about. I think that was probably the highlight of the episode so far. So yeah.
And if you guys haven't checked it out, also Blonde, the current Marilyn Monroe movie that we talked about. We did a video on highly anticipated movies for the remainder of the year, and Blonde made my cut into the top 10. Ana de Armas as Marilyn Monroe. It's actually been getting some buzz, negative and positive, for some controversial reasons. I haven't had the opportunity to check it out. I literally started watching like the first 5 minutes of it yesterday, but then I realized my girlfriend might want to watch this with me. She might kill me if I watch this whole movie without her. So I put a pause on it, but I'm really eager to go ahead and see Ana de Armas as Marilyn Monroe. It is currently up on Netflix, so go ahead and check that out.
I'll say this, something that intrigues me. I did not know that Netflix did NC-17 movies, so
me either.
Excited.
Yeah, me either. But yeah, it is NC-17. We don't really get an opportunity to see those movies very often, but they are currently up on Netflix right now. And then outside of that, we got House of the Dragon review coming for you guys this week. Rings of Power from this past Friday, which was an incredible fucking episode. I cannot wait to get into the nitty gritty and talk about that with you guys. That will be dropping here either Monday or Tuesday. You got some live viewer questions headed your way. Of course, She-Hulk. Maybe Stuart will give us another Stargirl review here sooner rather than later. It was on a hiatus, right?
Yeah, it was. It comes back though this week, and
awesome.
Not much happened in the last episode, so it was really hard to review. So I'm just gonna do them both together.
Combo together. Okay, so look forward to Stargirl later on this week. She-Hulk is certainly coming your guys' way, along with Andor. We got a ton of content for you guys. So if you have not subscribed to A+ Hero Report, what are you waiting for, man? Smash that subscribe button. Hit that bell notification too, so when videos do drop, you'll at least be notified. And if you continue to love our content here, hit that like button, guys. Hit that like button, especially if you're joining us in the live chat. It really does go a long way. But Stuart, if people want to find you on social media, where can they find you, sir?
You guys can follow me at TurboStew01 over on Twitter and on Instagram, I believe. Yeah.
And if you want to go ahead and follow us, you can do so right up here at A+ Opinions at the top. Very active over on Twitter, along with Instagram and our main Facebook page, where we post all the news throughout the week, posters, trailers, art, whatever you guys want to see. It's over there on our Facebook page, so definitely follow us there. But that's going to do it for us here, guys. We certainly will be back next weekend for you guys, Sunday live at 11 a.m. Central Time, so certainly join us then. But until then, do us a big favor, as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.